Well, hey everyone, and welcome to That Fallout Show, episode 18. I'm Rick McVick, and with us tonight, as always, is Shalene.
You almost did the thing
Almost
there,
did
didn't
the thing. And how you doing, Shalene?
I'm doing better now. I'm home. I'm hanging out with my friends. Everything's going to be fine.
Awesome, awesome. And with us again, also, Vendor.
Welcome, sir or madam.
How you doing, Vendor?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How you doing, Rick?
I'm doing swell. I'm doing swell. And with us tonight, a special guest, all the way from down under, but the down under in the sense of he's kind of down and underneath my state. Dave from Vault Boys West Virginia podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. So if I'm down under from your state, then what does that make Shailene?
He doesn't understand about geography. Yeah, he lives next to what's it called? The thing in Nevada with the aliens?
Area 51.
Area 51.
Yeah.
I still think she lives in the desert.
So. Yeah, they're always asking me, like, have you ever seen snow?
Well,
She's
you
like,
know.
Yes, we just had 6 feet yesterday. Again.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Dave.
Oh, thank you all for having me. Seriously, I've been listening to you guys for a while, so I'm excited to be here on the screen with my face. Fun times.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let's. We got a big show ahead of us. We got some stuff coming up, but before we get into what's coming tonight, which includes some sort of Jeopardy, so stay tuned for that. You can help our show out by sharing us on the social medias, whatever those things are you young kids do. You can send us some emails that we'll read on the show. You can like, subscribe, and we tweet.
We tweet.
We tweet our
Oh,
stuff.
no.
It was an accident.
Oh,
That was a
2 minutes.
It was a
We've
funny.
been
It was
going
a.
on 2
I lisped
minutes.
one time.
It was a Fuddy and Swip. No, slip. Fuddy and slip. You can tell your friends about us, host us on Twitch and things like that. That really helps our show. It's a grassroots show. It's built from the ground up by viewers and listeners like you. So please spread the good word, and let's bring some more into the We Just Love Games fold. On tonight's show, we've got some news. We've got some gameplay. I finally play some Fallout 76 and enjoy it. I think the same thing goes with Vendertron here. We have a recap of last week's challenge. I don't know if we have a new challenge because
Of course we do.
we have a new challenge. Of course we do. Then after that, we've got our. We're gonna hang out with Dave for a bit. I mean, he's gonna be with us this whole show, but we're gonna talk all about.
I'm going to sit here silent.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
commentary
you're not
at
allowed
all.
to talk. You're just here as a pretty face.
I just wanted you for the thumbnail picture.
Yeah.
We'll get into what Dave, what you do. We'll get into your show and stuff like that, and then after that, we've got some a trivia game you've come up with.
Oh yeah. Well,
Awesome.
not original
Well,
in any sense.
It is not copyrighted by you, but yes.
Right.
And then after that, if we have time, we have some listener emails. But before we get into any of that, we like to shout out our 5-star reviews. And Vendor, could you please take it away?
Of course, we have only one 5-star review shout out, but it is still important to mention on the show all the way from the US of A. We have Offensive Therapy. If you guys would like to leave us a 5-star review shout out, all you got to do is go to iTunes, search That Fallout Show under We Just Love Games Network, and leave us a 5-star review shout out. We also have new people in the Discord. You guys love Discord, right?
I believe.
Well, if you're not on the Discord, send us a personal message. We'll make sure you get the link. That is our server for our entire community. We Just Love Games that includes both GameStack and That Fallout Show. We are up to 230 some members now in the server, and we just keep getting more guests, and it's great. It's a great big family, and that's where the show continues off air. This week we've got Nefarious Chaos. Welcome. Hobbit, and we also have God, aka Lizardbot, who was previously in the Discord, but got booted for profanity. So remember, folks, no bad words.
And it wasn't us that did it.
And last but
Our bot boots you.
our bot, yeah. He's a good bot,
But he boots people he booted me, I think. I did something and I'm like booted. I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
I made you.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, we have Agent DB Cooper 42. Welcome to the Discord, everyone.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad to see every time that number grows and our family gets a little bigger, and then I realize we have that many more mouths to feed. But along with new people, I think we've got some new news.
If you like news, you're gonna love our next segment.
What happened in the wonderful world of Fallout this bye week, Shalene?
Just say week. Just
I
say
know.
It's fine. Say week.
It flows so good.
It's the people understand. Just say week. A lot of things happened, Rick. A lot of things. And first of all, a patch was released, patch number 7, and it was a good patch. There was one hot fix that they had to deploy, but there actually was not a ton of problems with this one. So that was some very excellent news. We're not going to go through this too deeply because most of the big things were mentioned in our recap of the season plan for the new content, because this added the new quest line, the Nuka Shine quest line, the brewing and distilling, the Fosnut.
Got it.
Fashnash.
Oh,
I've
gosh.
been saying it wrong, like for comedic effect, the Foshnashed, and I can't remember.
It's funner to say it that way. But then Rick gets mad.
Fosnut. It's my heritage, man.
Yeah, Rick's with it. He's got it right.
Okay,
They say it wrong in the game, too. Have you noticed this? They're like, welcome to Fashnacht. And I'm like, what?
Fashnacht.
They've got the English guy that plays all the like Codsworth and stuff.
Stephen Russell. Yeah. And he says it like twice, like 2 different times. And you're like, it's all right. It's like Microsoft Sam, gets it a little wrong every time.
The real challenge is people saying Helvetia. Is
you
tough
mean
enough.
Helvetica, the best font?
Helvetia, right?
It's Helvetia, right?
Helvetia.
Helvetia.
Darth Mungo in the chat says, just say it quickly with confidence. Be fine. Fashnashed.
Yeah, so I was looking forward to Fashnacht Day.
Well, this patch, in addition to Fashnashed, it changed the energy weapon balance and heavy weapon balance. It added the challenge tracker, which totally works. I've tested that out. Works pretty well.
Do you find that you track any challenges?
I do. Yeah, of course I do.
I don't.
You know that I do, though. Like, I'm not surprised to learn that you don't, but that's totally... Are you at all surprised that I'm tracking the challenges?
No. I just wasn't sure.
It's a built-in to-do list system, Rick. Yeah, it's kind of my thing. So we won't go super deeply into any of these other patch notes. But yeah, patch 7, it was deployed. It was good. And they also released a couple of Inside the Vault updates, and I wanted to go over the most recent one.
Oh, I didn't see this yet.
The survival mode beta is inbound, and I'm just going to read the first paragraph of this. Lock and load. We're gearing up to release the survival mode beta on March 26th, which is a new, more competitive way to play Fallout 76 that's separate from the main game, has fewer player versus player restrictions, higher stakes for PvP combat, and even a permanent XP bonus. We're also implementing scoreboards that you can use to earn bragging rights, as well as new weekly challenges that have legendary rewards. And they mention that, of course, survival is a separate mode than adventure. So adventure is the mode we've been playing all along.
Yep.
And they mentioned something that I think is really important. They're turning off slap damage in adventure mode. So no longer will you be damaged by a super high level player who wants to grief you if you do not respond.
So like no PvP at all?
Well, if you respond, say I come and I shoot you in the face.
Oh, there's no slap damage.
No damage gotcha. Until you shoot me back.
The slap happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I do like that that they've done that, because that basically makes it, it removes the ability to grief in that way. So I think
you can't damage your camp as well, which is good, so that like somebody can't run up, like attack it if you're on pacifist or something like that.
Yes, that is the other huge change for this when in addition to removing the slap damage, they are also removing the ability to damage people's camps. So
It comes at a good time because I feel like for the first time, these past few playthroughs, that people are starting to grieve more, and other players on the servers are starting to get a little bit more aggressive. That's just been my experience.
yeah, I haven't really experienced that.
That other night that we'll get into at the ammunition factory, that was not griefing. It was not griefing.
Yeah, but I've played a lot without you, and I've experienced
dare you.
grieving. So
Okay,
that's
yeah,
where that
I
was
haven't.
coming from.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, those
I haven't.
guys, like, I tried to fight back. They wouldn't even shoot at me. I was so low level. They didn't even
Oh, they were so OP. Like I spawned in and I was dead.
They obliterated us. But
And
I
then
haven't.
spawned in again and I was dead.
I haven't had any sort of griefing events. But a couple people in the chat are asking, like, "Hey, you gonna try out survival?" And people are like, "No, nope." And I'm not going to, because I don't feel like, since this section of Bethesda's fledgling internet PvP in a way, I went through the whole, like, you know, alpha H1Z1 survival zombie game, and I learned what happens when a company doesn't know how to handle anti-cheat well, and it is not fun at all. Like, it is not a good time. So having a competitive PvP sort of environment where the company's metal has not been tested with anti-cheat is kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna save my keyboard and stress level and not go there. So
A
I
lot
have a different ecosystem with the PS4 and cheating and that kind of stuff. But as far as griefing, I've only maybe had one instance of that where somebody managed to turn all of the robots in the White Spring against everyone and hid in the corn.
That's pretty clever, though. I mean,
Well, then it's like I got like three of my buddies and we're like, let's go get them, and we got them, and then we had a workshop or something like on the server, and then he came back, and then he managed to get a mic at that point, and then he just started calling us names. So
oh, that's a bummer.
I can't believe you did that, man. Come on, man.
Shalene, you remember that time I got built into the concrete box?
Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
I
I
love
couldn't
it.
get you out. Some girl just put a box around him.
Yeah, we walked up to her camp and she had a couple of turrets that were broken. So I walked up to the turret. I was going to repair the turret. And then suddenly I was in a cement box. And Shalene's like, "Where did you go?" And I'm like, I'm in here.
I was out there fighting a bunch of mole rats, trying to break you out of the box.
Between that and the video that I shared of the guy who built that maze and lured people in, and when they got in, there was like a death claw in there. Like, that's the fallout I want people to make. Like, where like just some bandit puts you in a box and it's like,
Yeah,
bye-bye.
That's the good kind of grieving.
I mean, I know you can like just fast travel away, but
Yeah.
I
Did you
think
also
that
see that? Oh gosh, what was it? I think it's called like a Brahmin catapult where somebody had set up.
I
a
didn't see
spike
that yet.
trap.
It was the same guy.
Crazy. He is great. I don't understand.
He's amazing. Yeah, let's actually skip forward because that was one of our news items was the Deathclaw maze. I just wanted to call it out because it was freaking brilliant. So this gentleman built this maze, this maze, and instead of a minotaur, there was a Deathclaw in the middle. And he would invite people over to the maze. He'd beckon them over, and these low-level players would go.
Oh, this looks like so much fun.
And so his username is Vault101 Man Guy. He's from Canada. And he would lure the players into the maze, shut the door behind them. It was locked with a lock, you know, that they couldn't break. And
Level
the
3
Deathclaw
lock.
would.
Oh my gosh.
It was
It's so brilliant.
magnificent. He also built a murder church and
I
a
didn't
player oven.
I didn't see
and
that.
The Brahmin launching pad that Dave was mentioning.
How did he get the Deathclaw into the maze?
He had to have lured it from somewhere.
It took him a while. Let me just scroll down here and read.
I think he tamed it actually, because there's a taming mechanic. If you have like high enough charisma and the perks and everything, you can tame an animal.
He's-
But
Yeah.
it's complicated because then it's owned by you. So his problem was the Deathclaw wasn't killing anybody; it was just doing slap damage to people. But it's still scary
Oh.
enough, you know.
Yeah.
It took him 2 or 3 days to get that Deathclaw in there.
Wow.
He's like an
That's
evil P.T.
hilarious.
Barnum, you know?
Yeah. If anybody looks up the some of the gameplay footage from this maze, it's amazing.
I was cackling like a maniac when I watched this video.
Yeah, he's
Step
literally
right up,
standing
folks.
on the roof, just like
Yeah.
watching the Deathclaw attack and like sneak around corners at people, and they're like standing there with guns,
It's so-
scared to death.
It's so brilliant because like then they can't fast travel either because there's an enemy nearby. So
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
"Ah!"
Wow.
Yeah, I just love that. But going on back to survival mode, I do think that there's absolutely an audience for that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know we've had a lot of people in our community who have wanted to role play as a raider and
Mhm.
who have wanted to go raid other people's camps and take their stuff and
Mhm.
have wanted that kind of wasteland experience. And those people are not getting what they want in the traditional adventure mode.
Yep.
So I think a lot of people are going to love this.
Oh yeah, I definitely
pretty-
agree with that. What's up, Dave?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. Just as somebody who I try to turn every game that I play into me being Solid Snake, and so when you've
I
got
can
all these
relate.
players, coming after you. It's like it's not necessarily me trying to find players. This is like, okay, there's an extra variable in all of that. Now I've got to deal with this like unknown enemy because now I think I'm a little bit ahead of you guys. I'm like level 138.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like
Your
in
level is higher than all
like
of ours added together.
triple.
Yeah, so now it's like, okay, I'm one-shotting level 68 super mutants. It's like, okay, I need like a little bit of a challenge, but I like that I think it's 20% extra experience
Mhm.
if you're in that mode, and so that's more of like a driving factor for
Mhm.
Yeah.
risk-reward scenarios.
What I'm curious about is if once you take your character over into survival, will you be able to like come back into adventure?
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people are saying it's kind of in my opinion, it's a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction because people are saying that you'll need like it's fair to have a new character in a different mode. So like everybody starts at the same level. And I think in theory that's correct. But then if you do that, like guys like me who I've spent this is like the only game that I play other than like Sekiro just came out, so maybe I'm a big Dark Souls fan, so I'm playing that. But this is like what I spend most of my time doing. Even at that, it takes me a while to get in and doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're
Yeah, that makes sense.
spending an hour or two a day, if you like the amount of days you spend with survival, eventually people are going to be too over leveled. And it's going to be the same issue of people are going to be overpowered no matter what. So it might be worth it. They need to work on their weapon damage fixes. There's a word for that. Balancing. That's it. Yeah.
The only thing I was thinking of was like you could go over into survival and level up a tune real quick and then just pop over into adventure and kind of be like pretty high up. But I guess at the end of the day, if they're eliminating that, not eliminating, but really curbing that PvP aspect in adventure, a high level character is only going to matter when someone runs through the green spring right before me. And all of a sudden I'm like, why is everything level 80?
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
which I like that. I know, Shalene, you were saying that you didn't like that aspect to it, but I kind of find that fun. Cause like, oh, I explored this area, everything's nice and safe. Then all of a sudden, like a charred level 62 feral ghoul comes out of nowhere, and you're just like, but not anymore. It's not safe, and it keeps that wasteland scariness up.
I like it in the sense that I get like pieces of armor that I can't use till I'm like level 60, and they're awesome. But I don't like it because the creatures are so high level. But then I'm like stockpiling all these wicked pieces of armor that I can't use, but I'm, saving them for a rainy day.
Down because the stash, man. My stash is always at 799 pounds.
Yeah.
I break down anything I can't use at the moment because like I'll get it again. Unless it's a very good legendary weapon, then I'll hang on to that. But
So Vendertron, why don't you tell us about some of the new things that have arrived in the Atom Shop?
Oh, the Atom Shop, guys. I'm slowly becoming hooked.
I know, me
they
too.
don't have microtransactions. Is anyone else other than me getting hooked on the Atom Shop?
I am too.
Atomic Shop. Oh, it's so good. They just have so much good stuff. And when you get into the Atomic Shop, they got that nice mall music that you can like listen to while you're shopping.
The red
and you're,
oven.
like, what should I go with, the red or should I go with the green? Like red or green?
Get
You know?
both. Get both.
Better get both. Anyways, this week in the Atomic Shop, they've got some exclusive items for the Fosnot Parade event. If you don't have a mask to show off during the celebrations this week, don't worry. You can head over to the Atomic Shop and pick up a Wagus player icon for your Fallout 76 tune, and that will give a festive appearance over your character as you wander around the wasteland for other people to see on the map. That is available in the shop until March 26th. And then I think that there's a player invitation party poster as well, which is available till April 9th. So don't forget to pick those up. Those are both free. Did you guys get those?
Yes, that one goes with the Nukashine quest.
The party poster, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. There are some limited time offers as well. If you can't get enough of the masks, you can also pick up 2 exclusive limited time masks that are available. Old Man Summer, which is a glorious sort of devilish red old man with a beard and these giant massive eyebrows. It's pretty fantastic. You can also get the Moonshine Mama mask, which I wish I would have spent my atoms on this, and I didn't. And so I'm hoping that I can get it. The Old Man Summer mask is available for 500 atoms right now, and that is only available till March 23rd. The Moonshine Mama mask is available till the 26th, and that is also 500 atoms. You can also pick up a 7-pose Wild Appalachia bundle for photos, and that's for 300 atoms. That is available in the Atomic Shop until March 26th, I believe. So keep an eye out for those and pick them up if you have a chance.
Now, let's be honest. The 3 of you, have any of you spent actual money in the Atomic Shop yet? Shalene?
No.
Vendor?
Oh God, no. No.
Dave?
Yes. When you make a game and you are adding in like a bunch of cosmetics that are relative to history. So like I don't care about the like 1950 style outfits, but once they started with that Mothman week, I was like, I need to, like, I put in 40. And I was like, that should cover me for a while.
Nice.
Should be good for a while on that. But then they started with that, and then they've got these like neon West Virginia signs, and I'm thinking, oh man,
the Pilsner pickaxe is looking pretty dope right now.
And I believe we understand that you have your own Mothman attire, fashion attire on for the show this evening.
Nice.
Very nice. For our audio listeners, Dave is wearing a wonderful Mothman shirt.
It looks like
I have a bunch of pictures.
It looks like it's kind of like Adam West Batman look.
Yeah, that's why I like it, is because that's the best Batman, and I will fight anybody who says that it is not the best. They have a gift shop at the Mothman Museum, which is like an hour from where I am. And you can get a bunch of their products and stuff. They had the Mothman Festival, and then Bethesda came to that, and then they were selling their shirts there as well. The line for 3 blocks, by the way.
Oh my gosh. Now, real quick, let's just take a quick side tangent. Do you remember the Adam West Batman episode where they fought pirates, and the onomatopoeia bubbles said, because like, I don't know, Vendor, Shalene, you know what I'm talking about, when like they would punch someone, it would like go to a cartoon like pow, bang.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for the pirate episode specifically, when they hit someone, it would say poweth, bangeth, clangeth.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I was like, what is this? Like,
it's like a season 3 thing where they had budget concerns, and then they filmed a fight scene but didn't have the money to film it, and so they like turned out all the lights, and they were like, oh, they're fighting, we'll put the words there.
I would just like to say that the more we get to know you, Dave, the more that I think you and Rick are going to be best friends.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to abandon us and go start your own podcast.
yes.
Yeah.
Once they add the pit in there, then we'll be like, you know, we'll have this Charleston versus Pennsylvania thing, and it'll be like a
That's true. Yeah.
collab.
Yeah.
I got.
So Rick, you were saying that you remarked on the succulent plants that I had in my camp yesterday.
I want everything in the Atom Shop, man.
Okay.
It's like the red stove. When I was in drafting school, we had to design a house, and I built my house I designed my house to look very 1950s. The roof was very flat but somewhat slanted because, the rain does have to fall off. There was a window in the kitchen looking into the living room that was a circle, big circle. It was just very 1950s. And so it was all angular and stuff. And so the kitchen, every cabinet, the stove, the cabinets, it was all red with white handles.
Yeah.
I mean, I've loved that kind of Art Deco, atomic whiz bang look all of my life, even before Fallout came. And when I saw the red stove, I was like, I gotta have it. But then I gotta have the wooden inlay thing for the gun.
Well, don't get your power armor in a knot, because you can get the potted succulents on sale for 100 atoms in the Atom Shop.
Don't know if I have 100 atoms.
Only until tomorrow. There are 2 items that you can pick up that are available only until today. That's the Jangles player icon and the Jangles bandana. And available till March 24th, you can get the Back to the Grind photo mode frame, and also the Darkwood laminate flooring, which is available till March 25th. The new items that are available in the Atomic Shop include the Garahan Excavator Power Armor paint set for 800 atoms. You can also pick up the Vintage Linen Coat for 600, Wood Inlay Lever Action Rifle Paint, Charlene,
Got that
for
one.
500 atoms. You can also get the Doughboy Pip-Boy paint, the Red Enamel Cooking Stove, Rick, which is what you were mentioning, for 300 atoms, which I think is actually pretty reasonable.
That's pretty good for a cooking stove.
Yeah.
You can also get the Alpine Horn, which I just purchased today, and it's glorious, you guys. It's glorious. Yes, you can use it.
Oh my gosh, I'm
Basically,
coming to your camp later.
yes, come on over. It's basically a mannequin standing in front of this giant Fastnut horn, Alpine horn, and I have it like blasting out into the valley, and it's great.
Magnificent.
Yeah.
Apparently the sound file on that is too quiet, and so they're in the next update they're gonna turn up the volume on that.
Yes.
So it's gonna be like you're gonna hear in the distance.
I can't wait to just hear horns
man.
blasting in the wastelands.
That's great. You can also get Diamond Eyes face paint. Those are some of the new items. And the items that were added in the previous update but are still available for purchase include the tour guide outfit, West Virginia neon billboards, the West Virginia ceiling light, and the mini Deathclaw statue.
I love it.
That's everything coming out of the Atomic Shop.
Thank you, vendor.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
So our next item that I wanted to discuss briefly is that a Fallout fan has created an incredibly detailed timeline for the Fallout series. I saw this article on Eurogamer, and I just wanted to bring it up. The gentleman's name is Connor Rawlings, and he says, "One of my boring, pointless hobbies is making lists. Recently, these lists have been timelines." And I've got to love somebody who loves lists. I'm big on lists myself.
Maybe this is like a match made in heaven.
It is, yes. And Rawlings says, "Thus I present perhaps the most in-depth timeline of the whole canon Fallout series." And I've got to say, I agree. This timeline is far more comprehensive than anything that is on any of the Fallout wikis that exist. It's he's got a Google spreadsheet here, and it's well over 1,000 lines long.
Oy.
I'm kind of surprised Google Sheets can handle this. It's remarkable. It's remarkable what he's done.
Its own access database.
Can you query it though? That's the question.
It's really funny because he's very humble. This was a tremendous amount of work, but he's very humble about what he's created. He says the process was super simple, and really I shouldn't get much credit for it. All I did was read through every terminal entry, note, and holotape for Fallouts 3 to 76 on the Fallout wiki.
All I did. That's all I did.
Occasionally cross-referenced in-game with the common wiki timeline.
It's nothing, really,
Yeah,
guys.
it's no big deal.
MVD.
Only took me 12 years.
Thunder. So you said query it, and then he said access, and I was like, we should make a podcast that's all about getting people from Excel to Access, and we'll call it Query Eye for the Excel guy.
Yeah, that's clever. Yeah.
If I can make people facepalm, that's all I want to do in life. It's just make people like, ugh. Why do we hang around this guy? I really don't know.
If anybody else would like to leave right now, you can go to Bethesda Game Days at PAX East.
Making people facepalm and setting up segues. That's what I do.
Bethesda Game Days will be taking place at Laugh Boston and MJ O'Connor's Irish Pub on Friday, March 29th and Saturday, March 30th. It's going to be 2-day celebration of games and community. They'll have some hands-on play ability with some of their upcoming games. You can win giveaways and raffles, and they're going to have some live panels. And if you can't be there, they will be live streaming the panels, including one that is the 25th anniversary of The Elder Scrolls, featuring Todd Howard, Matt Fearer, and more. So that's pretty fantastic. The Fallout-specific things on Friday in Eastern Time at 2 p.m., there will be a Fallout 76 panel and live stream, and that's it for Fallout-specific things. But there's a ton of Bethesda goodness that will be happening both live and on Twitch.
Interesting. It's weird. Like, what are they going to talk about?
That's what I was thinking.
Here's all the new updates coming to Fallout 76, but we don't actually have any new games.
Well, we don't know. I mean, they're doing E3 this year.
Right, and then they've got that leak or whatever that's on, what was it, Amazon or something.
Well,
that had
yeah.
the countdown.
Yeah.
We still
Plot
don't have.
twist, we bought Outer Worlds.
It's only available on GOG now. Only available.
But we canceled it.
Yes.
Suck it, Obsidian. They have to have something. They never really do. Well, I shouldn't say they never do E3s without having anything to do, because
Remember
2 years
the year
ago
that they did the 45-minute pre-recorded thing?
that was 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
They're just like, play me off, Charlie.
There was like 40 seconds of Pete Hines on stage, and the rest of it was just video.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
I mean, they gotta have something coming. I don't know if that Amazon thing was actually Bethesda or if it was just someone who was like trolling the internet. I have no idea.
Well,
But,
Todd
yeah.
Howard, like, his one wish in life is to have like a hologram of him going on the stage, so he doesn't actually have to do it himself.
Yeah, so you can keep working on the game. Just
Yeah.
keep
Yeah,
cranking away, writing
Yeah.
code,
So
yeah,
design the game.
yeah.
Oh goodness.
So speaking of E3,
True
guys,
leader.
Bethesda is attending E3, as Rick mentioned. Bethesda's E3 showcase is going to be on June 9th, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time.
calendars.
And we would like to go, Bethesda, so if you would like to allow us in the door this time, that'd be nice. Last year, I was just like watching through the window like the little match girl. But yeah, if you have any extra seats, Bethesda, we know some people who would like to go. So
Yes, and I take back everything I just said about Todd Howard. So please just send me some tickets. That'd be great. Thanks.
indeed. But they announced this with a placeholder save the date image that is the hashtag BE3 formed in the sky in stars, a literal star field. So I wonder what they're going to talk about.
Oh.
I wonder. The image features characters from all of their major properties and also some people that just look like gamers, just community members. So
Yeah, that's cool. I like that poster.
I have high hopes for this year. I think it's going to be a good year. So I feel like they've learned a lot.
And if we're not covering it live, you can guarantee that we will be covering it right here
Yes, we
on
will
twitch.tv/we just love games.
stream it here so that you guys can share the experience with us.
Excited for that. I love doing those annual like get-togethers.
Yeah.
They're really fun. They're really fun. We should start planning it now.
So we'll plan it 2 days before.
Yeah.
Shh,
That's the way it
Rick,
goes.
don't tell them how the sausage is made. Let them think we prepare things.
Favorite scene in Napoleon Dynamite.
So I had another little mention. We like to report on some of the more interesting merch that happens in the Fallout world, and they've made a Fallout 76 DX Racer gaming chair. Jess actually introduced me to this chair, and it's pretty. It's Vault Tech blue and yellow, has the 76, has Vault Boys on the back. And it's $379. I
Oh
hear
my God.
are fantastic chairs, but They are $379.
Can I point something out real quick, though?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I know it sounds expensive, but the first chair, you remember our unofficial fourth host, Mr.
Yes,
Squeaky?
the squeaky chair.
Yeah, that thing was $80 from Walmart. All right, $80. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy a better chair, to have because it would squeak less. And I think I spent like $150, I think, on my new chair.
Mhm.
I think I bought. I think vendor, you might have recommended it to me or something. I forget. Like we had this discussion on chairs or whatever. Anyway, it squeaks. Now I've had it for maybe a few months. And the other day I heard a clunk, and I looked down and 2 screws were on the ground, and I have no idea where they came from.
Did you assemble it yourself?
Yes, but
'Cause that could be why.
I'm handy. I mean, I've got my strippers here,
Sounds like you need to put a little bit of
my dikes here.
liquid silicone spray in some of the joints.
So I've got
But to
tools.
be-
I'm
to be-
handy.
In
But-
all fairness, okay, so these racing, like my one of my friends is an occupational
Oh,
health nurse, and she does ergonomic assessments. That's like part of her role, and these chairs are basically garbage, based on her assessment and opinion.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe $300 is worth it. It's like buying the $100 pair of shoes because it's going to last you 5 years, maybe.
So what you're saying is we should go fund me a chair for you.
Let's try this again.
Oh wait, we tried that.
Yeah, they canceled it. Wait a minute. He doesn't have a health issue. I will if my chair doesn't
Yeah.
stop squeaking.
Yeah, my hot take on that would be if it is the Fallout 76 merchandise doesn't have the best track record right now. That might be a wait and see for me.
Yeah, like in all honesty, like I would not pay $379 for this chair. I would not. It's
Not that one, no.
the novelty of it is maybe, but no.
So DX
Anyways.
Racer, if you would like us to review this chair,
Send me one, please.
Prove me wrong.
I hate it.
Um,
Why can't I get a chair that works?
I thought it was really funny because that chair started squeaking like the next.
It was like a week
podcast.
later.
The very next podcast.
I mean, I'm not like paper thin, but I'm not like break a
Well,
chair
you're
in
not
a
heavy enough to break a chair.
No.
It just needs a little elbow grease, Rick. Just put a little spritz here on each corner, and you'll be good to go.
I have
Your
motor
chair
oil.
is a diva. It wants to be mentioned on the show.
I have motor oil in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So
chairs off the record.
there's one. We can't make that joke
What are you
anymore,
doing?
Vendor.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
Wrong.
forgot.
Wrong.
You guys both did the thing. Okay.
No, I never said
You
those
almost did the
words.
thing. You
But that
almost did the thing.
almost is like doesn't count.
So, since people are always asking us to cover the Outer Worlds on this podcast, I thought we might discuss the Epic exclusivity shenanigans that were recently revealed. The Outer Worlds will not be coming to Steam for a year. It will be launching exclusively. They say exclusively, but it will be launching on the Epic Store and on Windows, the Windows Store. And Epic has actually made a deal with Humble so that all of their titles are also available on Humble. So you can get it.
Nice.
In addition to, of course, PS4 and Xbox. So
Right.
Cool.
yeah, I just what do you guys think about that? I know a lot of people are really upset about this. I don't see it as a huge deal.
In all honesty, I just want the game to be good. I mean, is that too much to ask for these days?
It
Yeah.
seems to be.
I just want it to be finished when it launches.
Yeah, like I just want it to be playable.
My question is, didn't Steam raise the amount that they took of every sale recently?
No, it's just been a large amount the whole time. It's always been 30%.
Okay. Well, maybe there's other platforms come up saying, "Hey, we'll take nothing or a little less," and then it
Yeah.
makes sense. It's just the world moves on, and that's just
I
how
think
it
Epic
works.
is a little less. If I'm trying to remember back to when they
I think
launched.
Epic has taken 10%.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the answer. There's no other reason other than, hey, we take less money, and so they're like, okay, we'll go there. It's
Yeah.
simple.
Is Outer Worlds built on the Unreal Engine?
I think it is. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not sure.
hmm.
I mean, in all honesty, I think I like the Epic's Game Store better than Steam. Steam is garbage. I mean, it's such a knot of information.
I think part of the issue is that Steam has some features that Epic does not, like the ability to get a refund. But I really don't see it as a huge deal.
No.
Yeah, not a big deal.
It's just another program.
I don't like having 57 launchers. You know, Rick knows this. Whenever he's like, hey, Shalene, you want to play Destiny? I'm like, which button is Destiny? Is that the blue circle? Is that the purple square? Which one is Destiny?
It's the blue swirly triangle. Oh, all right. That's it. Yeah.
Yes. So I have a launcher exclusively for Destiny, one for The Division. I had to install Bethesda launcher to play Fallout 76. This is, if I want to play the game, I'll install the launcher. I just don't see it as a huge deal.
Yeah, I think people are grasping at straws here and like splitting hairs on what they want and don't want. And
what? People manufacturing rage and offense? No.
Like, get over yourself.
Well, it's all right. Such as
I'm sitting here with my MacBook, so I have no stake in this.
I mean, I can play Sim City.
Hey, I can play Cuphead. That's all that freaking matters.
There you go.
Cuphead is so good, though. Cuphead is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good game. And kudos to the creators of Cuphead. You worked extra hard, and you deserve all the accolades that came with that game.
Yeah, it's going to be on Switch soon.
Yes. Play it while I bike.
Yes. Hey, you bike? Uh-oh.
I bike and play the Switch at the same time. So, like, I pedal,
that's
and I have the
great.
controllers, and then I, like, you know.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude,
man.
Dark Souls, Splatoon, and now Cuphead. That's what I play.
Nice.
On a bike?
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I'm impressed, yeah.
Well, when you die and you
Obviously
get really mad,
stationary.
you pedal, I guess. Oh, yeah, it's stationary. No, it's
Obviously
Oh,
stationary.
I'm like picturing him riding down the mountains of West Virginia, like, come on, just go.
Oh my lord.
Have him. No, that's not. No, but it's stationary. But then it's like when you die or you get really frustrated, you automatically kind of get into it. So that's when I turn the dial and I'm like, all right, let's serious gamer time. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, man.
That's the news for this week, Rick.
Awesome. And speaking of serious gamer time, we have some gameplay, but we're going to start off with Dave, man. So, as you know from listening to the show, we like to talk about what we've done in playing Fallout. And so we're going to throw the mic over to you. You've already got one, so good.
Yes.
What have you been doing in Fallout?
Okay, so let me. There's a little bit of a history. So I'm a big camp builder. I like doing that a lot. And I've spent. Like I said, I'm level 135 or some like obscenely thing that my wife is like, why do you play this so much? But I'm a big camp builder, and so I started off by doing a restaurant, and I liked like old school like 1950s diner stuff.
Oh yeah, love it.
There's this diner in Bluffton, South Carolina, which is outside of Hilton Head. That's fairly famous. And it kind of reminded me, I was like, I kind of want a diner like that. And I was like, well, maybe I should just name it after that. So I started with a diner called the Squat and Gobble.
That sounds not at all. Hey, baby.
Well, and then
Squat and Gobble.
The irony is that my character is a cannibal.
Oh.
So it's like a little play on words, but it's actually named after this restaurant in South Carolina. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have this little diner, and this is before they were even talking about like having like vending. I was like collecting food and then like moving my restaurant to locations where there would be people and like testing out different stuff and just
You have a
like,
food truck.
cooking and acting like I'm cooking, and then be like, oh, and only selling like, I think I like made a bunch of Salisbury steaks or something. I was like, oh, Salisbury steak, you know. And people would come by and would have interesting conversations, and so then I was like, okay, they changed all of this camp budgeting with the last patch, where they made turrets their own thing and they gave lights their own thing, so they weren't taking up as much budget. So this week, survival mode is coming up. So I've done 3 things in preparation for survival mode, which are my tips to you. the listeners and you all as well. Number one, I redid my camp so that I made a small city, which I called Elk City, which is a real place here in Charleston. That's where I live. I live in Charleston, West Virginia. That's actually, if you go in the game, that's where it actually is in real life. And it's like the closest you could build to Charleston in the game. And I made 3 small, like, little shacks. Church to Mothman. The Squat and Gobble was there. It's just a little smaller. A moonshiner's camp, and then it has walls all around it with like missile turrets on top, and then there's a key code entry, and then it has neon lights. Elk City, and it's right in front of the Charleston train station, which gets visited a lot from new players and then people going on the cell to different vendors and stuff. So that has been my camp adventure.
Question.
Answer.
Were you able to blueprint all of it?
So it individually blueprints. I've actually moved it a lot of like positioning it where I wanted to. Each individual building blueprints.
Okay.
See, that's a smart thing to do. You and me, vendor, would be like, I can't get the whole
I'm
thing.
trying to blueprint the entire thing in one go. And
It's just not good.
If you want to break it up even more, blueprint your foundation and then get the rest of it, and then you can just like stack it right on top.
This guy, man.
So I did that, and then I started with that city, like kind of design. I did the defenses this week. That was the big thing, was putting up literally, it's like essentially Diamond City, where it's like entirely walled off and there's one gate and you have to go through that gate. But it was open for a while, and I had a lot of people come by and visit and just be like, oh, how you doing? What's up? You know, cool city, stuff like that. But it's got all the amenities. It's maxed out. It's like 100% budget, though. It's like I cannot build a single thing more. I have built everything.
There's actually
I have a picture of it online that I took, and the way it's situated, there's 2 like real buildings that are included in the camp budget. And since I have the marsupial mutation, I can jump to the top. And so there's like the gate, and then if you go back, there's a taller building that's naturally in the game. And on top of that, I had bought the Mothman statue from Atomic Shop, and I put it on top of that building. And so in the moon shines, like where the moon is in the game,
I cast a shadow.
Yeah, of Mothman over the whole
awesome.
camp.
That's awesome.
Wow. There's actually Slip and Trippin' 84 in the chat says, he's like, I think I saw your camp with the walls, and he's like, I was trying to get in.
Yeah, you can jump over it if you have marsupial. Also, the code is 6480. I don't know if you're ever going to be on PlayStation 4. You can add me on there, by the way. I'm at PSN Chaffins. That's CHAFINZ. Just send me the friend request that you're from the show or know me, or, you know, don't send me anything weird. But
I think there's a couple people in our Discord that do play on PlayStation 4. I think Captain Bones does. So
I play 50% on my TV. And 50% on, and this is the weirdest thing, I'm maybe one of like 10 people that play Fallout 76 like this. I've redone the controls so I can play in my bed at night on my PlayStation Vita.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
So I play a lot of that because I have fairly good Wi-Fi at the house. So I live in a city house. You know, Charleston is pretty close together. In the game, it's so close together they like lapped it all on top of each other and crumbled it. But I played a lot in my Vita, so I may not have a mic probably 70% of the time. But I did the stuff with the camp, made that, and then I have a buddy that I play with. His name is Cody, and he was on the podcast that I do. And he is like super into builds and is like running statistics in the background of how things are happening. So there's this build that's very popular right now called the Bloodied build, that essentially people are taking rads all the way down to make their health just 20%. And then with certain perks, legendary weapons that are bloodied, they can one-shot people. But the thing is that they can also get hurt very easily. So it's like
they're glass cannons. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
There's a way to counter it that we figured out, and it's a weapon that we thought was useless up until the Bloodied builds, which is the Gamma Gun. Because the Gamma Gun ignores armor and only does radiation damage. So you only need like 2 shots in the Gamma Gun, and your Bloody builds, you can take them out from a distance, because most of them are melee. So that's I've been getting the Gamma Gun and getting the ammo. And then for sniper, stealth, VATS builds. All of that runs off of AP. Anything that does cryo damage gets rid of that person's AP. So I've been collecting cryogenic grenades and like okay, the stealth sniper people, I've got you. The melee people, I've got you. I'm gonna sit here with my heavy machine gun and try to play this game correctly.
See, that's the cool thing about this game is, like, you know, there are people like you and your friends who are actually getting into the MMO side of this thing, where the different types of builds and I like that they've done that, because there's a lot of math behind it, and you know that sounds very like, I come from Guild Wars, so that sounds very like, oh, I'm going to build like a tank or a healer or something. So that's
I try to do a healer. I'm still working on it. I'm still tweaking it and figuring.
The game's not
out,
conducive to that, though. It really isn't.
You've got to be like, you can't be like a caster. Like there's no like caster. You're either like a tank with healing properties or like DPS guy with healing properties as well.
And you can't, and like what we found too is like, I started doing like a medic build too, where I was focusing a lot on, you know, reviving people and sharing perk cards, which, by the way, I think the sharing system's a little broken, because like after you hit charisma of 9, you can, that's it, you know.
Yeah, you can't do anymore.
It's kind of silly, but one of the things that I thought would have been really cool is if there was a way to actively heal your teammates. Like if you see them going down, you could like stab them with a stim pack. But like what we found in the game too is very rarely is there a situation where one of us dies, we actually get downed. We usually just die flat out. Like we're never like in the down state. Yeah,
there's a few like if you want to run a medic build, there's like perks you can take in charisma that essentially if you're near somebody and use a stim pack, they get a percentage of that stim pack. I think at rank 3, it's like 100% of that stim pack. Under intelligence, you have your first aid perk cards. If you want to get like kind of like into that world, there is a rank, there's a perk in charisma that essentially makes any fire damage that you do heal people. So if you have a paralyzer, you can like spread your flames, and that's like a healer in itself. Like you can just like area effect, like spray your healing fire magic out to people.
Wow. I have a perk where if you use a stim pack, like if I use a stim pack myself, it has a chance of healing other people as well nearby.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's one of the main ones that I use when I'm in a party.
Do you guys remember in New Vegas, if you would get poisoned and you used a stim pack on yourself, it would have the adverse effect and like health is gone?
Yeah.
The days.
Archon says that brings a new meaning to friendly fire.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
But yeah, so like what do you do in the game though when you're not building? Like what's your main MO as far as like, do you like to just explore, or do you correlate a lot of in-game stuff with real world applications? Like what is it that you do?
So I would say if I had to like divide up my time, I spend a good amount, like if I know that I'm doing something in game, which is before I didn't have the game to play and I was making episodes about the game and I had no idea. So now I have the luxury of being able to play the game and learn a lot about that. And from just the opportunities that I've had and people I know, and also talking to some of the people at Bethesda, they spent like 3 months touring the state and then brought their entire development team out for like a weekend to like go around the state. And they didn't tell anybody. They do this a lot for areas that they visit. I think they did it for New Orleans when they were doing Wolfenstein and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot, I mean, like a hilarious amount of thought put into this game that I don't think any, like as far as world building, I think everybody can agree that Fallout 76 is pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
In terms of what, sorry?
World building.
World building.
The world of Fallout 76.
Yes.
You looked like you were like skeptical, like no.
Well, I misinterpreted. I thought that you meant as in like just building. In general.
Oh no, not the building in general. No, the building
And
is
I was
not
like,
that good. But
I wish there was more of that. But I spend time doing research for the episodes that I do on my for myself. I do runs of a few different areas. I do West Tech. I do Watoga Civic Center, Watoga High School, generally some other areas in Watoga if I want to go around. I used to, back when workshops are actually good, where they didn't just produce ore, where they produced like actual scrap. I did a lot of those, but now I don't so much anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody
And
really does
so
workshops.
mainly for that, I'm just trying to gain experience, and I've still got like 15 levels to go till I think I have a good build, and then there's like extra perk cards I can get. I can find a reason that I need another perk card or level or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But so between those areas, you're getting high level monsters that give you a lot of experience, and then sometimes you have the chance for legendary, and then you roll those dice, which is not particularly in your favor most of the time.
Yeah, I got another bloodied baton.
Yeah, I got my back when flare guns were a legendary item.
Jeez.
Armor penetrating flare gun. Whoa. Amazing.
That vertebrate's going down.
And then a lot of the time, I'll just, since my camp is literally right beside the train station, I'll spend a lot of time over there and just like flag people down. I don't even really use my mic. I just communicate in emotes, and they look around, we trade, I see what they have, help out. If you're like under level 30, I like mass produce stim packs. So generally my like cap is at 100 stim packs. And then because of the super duper perk and the chemist perk and everything, you just naturally kind of get them as you go along.
Yeah.
So I'll just like drop stuff and help out people. And
Well,
then sometimes I'll play with my friends.
Well, if it wasn't stim packs and if it was drugs you're producing, Shalene would be buying a PS4 for that reason only. It's like, give me all that buff out.
All the
Well,
drugs.
That's what I do. Is I have a
I have
build that's
so many
essentially a
drugs.
trader build that you.
I'm gonna clip that.
I've
I
gotten
have
all
so
the
many
recipes
drugs.
for them, and so like finding, I think MedX is the only thing that you can't craft in the game. And so if you find MedX, you can make any drug in the game, pretty much.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
I
Awesome.
wonder.
What?
I just want to know what these drugs feel like in real life. You know, like
Have you?
what does
No,
it feel
wait,
like
wait.
when you shoot some MedX?
Well, wait a sec. Have you
Does it
ever had
burn?
morphine vendor?
Not well. Yes, but I don't remember
Oh.
Well,
any of it.
that's like
So no, because all right. So I had morphine once, and it was awesome. I mean, I totally understand why that stuff is addictive. I mean, it is the best. The person who says drugs suck is wrong. They're wrong because they're amazing. Don't do them. So
Yes, drugs are bad.
I was
boys and
talking.
girls.
I was talking with an ex heroin addict, and he's been clean for many years, but he had his appendix taken out, and when he was about to go under, they're like, "Hey, we know your history. Do you want morphine for the pain?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm in pain. Like, I need this because I'm dying." And he's like, when it started at your toes and it's just this rush all the way up to your head. And I was like, that's what it was like for me when I was in the hospital. And he's like, it's awesome. I'm like, yeah. And I'm thinking that must be what MedX is like. You're just like,
yeah.
ah.
Max was originally morphine.
Yeah, like it
on
is
a-
so
Reasons
good.
why they wouldn't classify Fallout 3 in Australia in the beginning.
So
on
vendor.
on a more somber note, we here at TFS
Oh,
do not
yes.
endorse the use
Not
of
at all.
opioids
Unless you're in the hospital with really bad pains.
under physician guidance.
Under physician
and
guidance.
even then, where I'm from, we have a major opioid crisis.
Oh, we do too. I mean, people are dropping
and,
like flies from fentanyl. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
There's stories in Fallout 76 about the drug crisis in West Virginia.
there's
Yeah,
a drug
it's-
crisis in Fallout 76.
Yeah.
Shalene is like the epicenter. of-
But I'm just saying, like, Vendor, you want to know? I've had first-hand experience. It's amazing. But
Jim Justice over there is sure delivering the justice. That's for sure.
yeah. You get a
Man.
buff out, and you get a buff out.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sure we'll hear all about that in a moment.
Yes.
But all right, let's keep moving this train along. Vendor, what have you been doing in Fallout?
Do you want? I'll go first, I guess. Okay,
Wait, you're in the. I missed my name because I didn't put anything under it. But yeah, go ahead.
guys, I actually played Fallout 76. I mean, how many times have we done an episode of that Fallout show? And I'm like, nah, just keep moving along. Like, I
Yeah.
haven't had any time to play anything. So I went away to California for 2 weeks, and then I've been back for a week, and I'm still trying to get into work mode, and I've been playing a hell of a lot of Fallout 76, and it's
Mhm.
awesome. Jess and I went on an adventure before I left for holidays, and that was a fun time. I was still trying to like get my camp underway. The building in this game is terrible. but I did start building. And Shalene, you remember how I had that like half camp? There was like walls
the
up,
one that
and then there,
didn't have all its walls.
yeah, I had like walls missing, so I put up like concrete barricades instead. But anyways, I moved that camp when I was playing with Jess, and I'm like, this looks like a nice area. There's some trees, there's not too much around, and then Jess was in my camp, and she's like doing stuff at one of the benches, and I'm like, I'm gonna go out and see if I can find some wood to finish off these walls. And so I go out, and all of a sudden, I'm walking through the woods, and all of a sudden, big explosion behind me. And I keep walking, another big explosion. And she's like, what the hell are you doing out there? I'm like, I don't know. There's just all these explosions behind me. Like, I'm just looking for wood. There's nothing going on here. And so I get my wood. I go back. I fix the walls up. No big deal. She goes out later to see if she can get some resources. And same thing, big explosions left and right. I'm like, what are you doing out there? Are you blowing up cars? And she's like, no, I'm not doing anything. And then she's like, oh, wait. She's like, vendor, come out here. So I walk out to where she is, and she's like, look at this sign. And I look at the sign, it says minefield. I built my camp in a minefield, you guys.
It's protected.
I mean, yeah, I'm well protected, of course. Yeah,
At least
I guess
it's yours.
I mean, if the glass is half full, that would be the best place to build a camp, to be honest. I also killed my first Scorch Beast with Jess, which was awesome. Scorch Beasts are the best. And then Shalene and Rick and I had some adventures as well. Shalene and I did the Nuka Shine quest, and my character is an alcoholic in the game. He's great. He's still kind of in Reclamation Day mode, because why should the party leave or end when you leave the vault? I don't know. It's a tough world out there in the wasteland. And I don't think that, the celebration should really stop. I think we all need a little bit of liquid courage to play in survival mode. So that said, Biv is like the best. He's such a little souse. Don't you love Biv? Oh, man.
He's perfect.
Playing as a character who just consumes alcohol all the time is actually quite difficult. It makes you very sloppy. You die a lot. It's hard to aim at things. I'm always running out of ammo. I'm constantly thirsty and hungry all the time. And sometimes you drink the Nuka Shine, and then you teleport to a new place in the middle of one of Shalene's screenshots, and then she gets mad at you.
I was trying to take a nice portrait. Bendertron just disappears.
Yep. He's like, Nuka Shine.
Yeah, so there's that. I got the excavator power armor. Woo! I'm not a big fan of the power armor, period. I never was a fan of power armor in Fallout 4. I think it's too clunky. The only advantage it has for me is, one, not dying, and two, I can carry more of my hoarding capabilities on my back. But goddamn, you guys, screws are a hot commodity in Fallout 76. That and black titanium, we went looking forever.
Yeah. Mole miner scraps and stuff, that's where we were pulling a lot of it.
So I don't know how I feel about the excavator power armor quest. I don't necessarily like killing all the robots that need to die. It doesn't make me feel that great. But it's done. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I'm not sure if I'll ever use the power armor again, but it's there in my stash box.
Lore-wise, it's probably my favorite in the game, because I think they kind of advertised it wrong. It's when you wear that power armor, essentially what the game is saying, like lore-wise, is that you are John Henry, the steel driving man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I loved that.
The competition between the two. I wish they had focused more on that, and that I think would have made the power armor cooler.
I missed all that lore. I read a lot of the terminals. I missed all that.
It's worth checking out.
Oh, okay. I'll have to go back and check it out.
It was a big competition between man and machine.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've got some notes here on the Fashion Ash parade, but I'm going to save that for when the three of us want to talk about it. I do want to talk about my camp a little bit, though. So I did build my camp a little bit more. It's 2 stories now, which is fantastic. I also have track lighting. So fancy. I have an amazing sofa, you guys, with it's the red sofa, and it's got the Atom it's like a throw blanket.
Yes,
and then
I have that
also
too.
got like a chaise longue, which is fantastic.
Mhm.
I built a porch. It's got a barbecue and some wind chimes.
I love
The
Witch.
building in this game is terrible. It's just so
It is
bad.
bad.
Nothing snaps right, and there's so much collision, and I generally don't like it at all. Yeah. That said, I just want to comment on that the game has actually gotten better, and that's, I think, part of the reason why I played a lot more of it. Fallout 76 for me is a little bit of a conundrum. I like the game, but I don't love it. And
But you want some more of it?
I played, yeah, I played quite a bit of it solo the past few nights, and it really brought me back to what initially had got me into the Fallout franchise to begin with. And that's a good thing, I think. You know that feeling when you're kind of like wandering around and you're exploring new territory, and you're just scared to death of what's going to jump out in front of you, and you know, you pull up your Pip-Boy and you put your radio on because it makes you feel a little bit less stressed because you're listening to, you know, Andy Williams or something, and it's cheerful. I just love that feeling. And you know, coming up to a new compound, I like to take my time, you know, checking out the perimeter, seeing, like, you know, coming up with a plan of how I'm gonna like go through it and go inside and look around, and I just go through everything in the room. Like, I look at all the notes and the clues, and I pick up literally every single scrap, tin can, and pencil, and just everything, because that's the way it is for me. When I'm leaving, I always ask myself, you know, am I ready to leave this place? Am I done yet? Have I looked under every rock? So that's the part.
I like that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I always like get really involved in the space that I'm in. Like, and I could spend sometimes an hour in a house just looking around. And it's
like
good. I like it.
Condo of Fallout 76.
Yeah. And I think this is the thing about the Fallout franchise, I think, that keeps bringing me back. And that's what I like about playing solo in Fallout 76 right now. I equally like playing with you guys. Obviously for other reasons. The team battles are a blast. Doing some of the quests together. We all approach things differently. I think that we play the game differently, and we complement each other's gameplay in different ways, and it's just creates a really nice dynamic. And everybody is so nice. Like, I actually haven't encountered a person alone in the wasteland that wanted to kill me that I didn't know. I mean, Rick's always shooting at me, but that's different.
Doesn't hurt you, pacifist mode, so it's just fun.
Exactly. But like, I actually haven't had like an outright
tacky.
I actually haven't had an outright battle
Tacky?
with somebody that I didn't know. So I don't know. I definitely have more fun just kind of exploring with you guys, I think, rather than doing quests, because I play at a different speed, I think. I really like to kind of get immersed and check everything out. Like, when I go into a house, I like to kind of understand the people that lived there before, and what they might have been like, and what their life was like before the bombs dropped, and things like that. So, but I did actually go on an adventure today. So I wanted to do one last parade before the show, and I pulled up my Pip-Boy, and I was actually going to fast travel to Helvetia, and I thought, you know what, let's not fast travel, we're going to do this on foot. So I started out at my base, which is in the far northeast corner of the map, and I started walking on foot, and I literally had like nothing on me. I had like 11 bullets in an assault rifle, and like maybe 100 bullets of 45, and 11 missiles and some frag grenades. That's all I had. And so I started out, I ran into some super mutants. I took them out with the missile launcher, and kind of looted the area that they were in. And you know how you're like going along, you pick some like crackleberries and blackberries, and there's some carrot flower that I picked. And then I like hit this road, and I was like looking around, and I realized that like I kind of had come back to like civilization. Like I had reached the road and I felt like I was no longer like in the deep woods, in the forest, like trying to survive. And then I was like, oh, but I can't keep going on the road because like that's not where my destination is. Like I need to keep going through the forest. So I kept going. And I came out to a power station full of scorched. And I used my last bit of bullets that I had in my assault rifle. So now I have nothing left. I had some frag grenades. And I hit Sunny Top Station. Have you been there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank God I reached there because I was able to sell some stuff, sell a lot of my junk, buy some ammo, get kind of geared up a little bit. And so I kept going. I ran into Ingram Mansion. And thank goodness that somebody had already been through there because all of the Mr. Gutsies were dead. And I was able to just kind of like go in and like loot around and take a look, which was pretty awesome. So thanks to anybody who went through there and killed them for me. That's good. Because at this point, I didn't have anything. Like I was literally trying to survive, trying to get to the Fast Nash parade. It was good. It was good. Yeah, what else? There was 2 other cabins after that. Those were both empty. And then I ran into some cabins that were riddled with super mutants, and I had to use the rest of my frag grenades and my missiles to kill them. That's literally all I had. That was fun. Got some good loot there. And then I came to this cabin. It was starting to get dark, and I came to this cabin, and it was like glowing like green inside. And I'm like, oh my God, there's like a glowing one in there. What am I going to do? I don't have any bullets. I just threw all my frag grenades at those super mutants. I've got nothing left. It was a Red Menace whack-a-mole machine glowing inside the cabin. Everything was fine. There was nothing wrong. It was just a Red Menace machine. Anyways, so I kept going after that, and I finally made it to Helvetia, and I had just made it in time. They were just finishing the parade, and I was like booking it across the wasteland because I had realized that I was going to run out of time. And I got there, and they threw the Molotov, and they lit the fire, and I walked up to it, and I collected my mask, and it was the shiny tooth. It was the Toothed Man mask, which was one that I hadn't had before. So it was awesome. It worked out great. So that was a fun adventure. If anybody's doing that, I recommend, fast traveling is fun because it gets you from point A to B quickly. But I think that you miss a lot of the game when you don't fast travel or when you fast travel.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, there's just so much that you miss. Like you're walking through and you just run into this random like camp where there's a couple of notes of these people that were like, this is going to be our last night here. I love you, Charlie. Like, and it's just, that's part of Fallout that I love. I just love that part. But yeah, that's kind of my gameplay. I've been doing a lot in Fallout 76. I'm excited to add more to my camp. So far I've got what mask do I have? I've got the owl mask. I've got the Toothy Man mask, and I have the giant mask. What mask do you guys have?
Soldier mask, don't you?
Oh, and the soldier mask.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I have
I've
that
got
one as well.
Toothy one, the giant, the soldier, and the witch and the owl. So I've got 5. And the
I've
ballet.
got the owl, the giant, and the soldier, but the owl is just the best. I have like
It is.
3 of those.
So good.
Yeah,
I want
love the owl.
I want the goblin mask, honestly. The goblin mask is the best, but that's a super, super rare one.
Yeah.
So, and with my luck being 2, I doubt I'll get that one.
Pantagruelia got one of the sun masks, the one that's like the beekeeper.
Yeah.
Have you seen her tweets?
Yeah, it's so fabulous.
Oh, her tweets are so good.
Yeah.
She puts it on excavator power armor, and it just like matches.
Oh,
so perfectly.
that'd be
Great.
amazing.
So great.
It's so good. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So the Fastnacht event is really cool. I didn't realize that this was like Bethesda's first go at sort of a community event like this.
Yeah, seasonal events is their very first time doing a random loot roll event sort of thing.
And I like it because it's all about like drinking. And my character's an alcoholic, so I'm just like drinking all the time. It's just so good.
I think it's like funny just in theme because like the Fastnacht or just those kinds of festivals in general are all about like everybody's been cooped up in their cabins in ye olden times, and now we all want to get out in the town and see each other, what everybody's been into, and visit and drink a lot. And on my podcast, I had a guy that actually went to it a few weeks ago
Cool.
Oh wow.
The actual event.
Yeah, it was
That's awesome.
2 weekends ago. I couldn't make it because of snow, because it's like it's out there.
Yeah.
It is out there. But he went and he was like, it was partying nonstop. Everybody was drunk.
Well, if you're wondering, Helvetia was actually settled by German and Swiss immigrants from Brooklyn in 1869. It's settled mostly by artisans, and it actually has historically been associated with its cheese making and food festivals in which masks are worn. And in the game, you can actually get 13 different masks. The town
Allegedly.
itself has this fascination with making paper mache, so that's where the story of the masks come from. But
They make them every year, and then if you want to donate yours, they have a museum there of masks from the past. So if you made a really good one and you know that you're going to go again, generally people donate, and they have this like really cool display of all of it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
yeah, I had a lot of fun doing the parade with you guys.
Yeah.
Did you
that was
like
great.
the parade?
What?
Did you like the parade, Rick?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it is a lot of fun. It's weird. I mean, I played a lot of seasonal events for Guild Wars, which, I mean, it's hard to top Guild War seasonal events. And I've played seasonal stuff with Destiny, which again, it's like huge. And to see like Bethesda like starting their little foray, put the toe in the water of that seasonal event thing, and it only glitched twice on me, was really cool to see that like, oh, this could be a thing that they do, you know, where maybe it's not just one town now, it might be a server wide thing, or like
Yeah.
you know, because like what Destiny would do is like, or even Guild Wars, like for their Winter's Day event, Guild Wars, like you'd walk out in the world and the world had like more snow everywhere in some things, and there were like piles of snowball things you could make just randomly out in the world rather than just in the main central hub. So I think it'll be cool, like as they start going forward, it's like, oh, winter's come to the world, and like now there's snow everywhere, and you know, just you know, one of the sloths gets, you know, snow stuck on him, so now he's like the abominable sloth. So like stuff like that would be pretty cool to see. And then I would like to eventually see like world bosses start popping up. You know, there's nothing like that right now, but like, yeah, I like this. It's pretty cool. I don't know if I was the first one to try the Fosnut parade. I might have
think
been.
You were out of the three of us, yeah.
Yeah, right. Not out of everyone in the world. I was the first. No.
People were posting that though. They were like, "I was at the first Fosnat parade." I'm like, "What
Nah.
to claim the fame?"
Yeah.
Good job. You got that witch mask.
Yeah, so I decided to try Fallout 76 again after like the last patch. I hadn't been playing it for a long time, and if you've been listening to the show and keeping up with it, you'll know my disdain for the frame rate issues I was having. And I like to think that I gave it a good college try. You know, me and Shalene when we would play, and it was so unbearable. Or like the quest lines would glitch out, and it wouldn't be fun. And so I updated it, tried it again, and I started a new character. And this was after they did that huge major patch leading up to the Wild Appalachia roadmap. And I haven't had any sort of frame rate issues. And I gotta say, I haven't talked about it since complaining about it, where I was talking about that weird fuzziness on the screen, right?
Right.
Yes.
Well, I had
figured out.
I had a Shalene moment where I was like, oh, there is a mini map. Where the depth of field slider, I slid that all the way to the left, and it took away all the fuzzy. I was like, why is this even here? So that was the whole problem, was a setting. I knew it was a setting, so that's all gone. And that's what really opened the game up for me. Even without the frame rate issues, that weird depth of field was just making me so mad, and I hated it. So getting rid of that changed the rest of the game for me. I started a new character, and I was like, well, let's play with the perk cards here. What happens if all you do is you put damage multiplier perks on a tune? Nothing else. No weight modifying stuff, no gunsmithing things, just complete damage modification. And I've changed it up a little bit, where I had a couple of gunsmithing perks because that helps complement the damage modifications or the damage multipliers. And it's been fun. I mean, I kill things rather normally, but since I'm palling around with, Jess and Arch, and they make everything level 68 to my level 33, so it kind of evens itself out anyway. But I have this problem in games where I find the most difficult guns to use, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm going to use. So, like, for a while, I was carrying around 2 single-action revolvers in weapon slots 1 and 2. So that way, when I fired all 6 of one, I could hit 2 and pull out another one. And, watch it there, Pilgrim. I got another. So it was that whole thing. Because I like that whole Western, West Virginia. And then I carried, so along with those 2 revolvers, I carried 2 black powder pistols. So I could fire one and pull out the other and fire it without reloading. And then I
love
carried
the black powder pistols.
I just love it too. And then
you could like one shot a super mutant with a black powder pistol.
Yeah. And then I carried a sawed-off double barrel shotgun to finish off that thing. And then I bought the Preston Garvey Western outfit with the patrolman sunglasses and a cowboy hat. And my character's kind of old looking, and he has like this really cool like mustache and goatee thing going on.
And what you're saying is your revolver ocelot.
Yes, it's so funny. It is so funny. I was like, this is basically a revolver ocelot build. It really was. It did go through my mind. Yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna focus on pistols, and I'm still getting all the damage perk cards at this point.
Yeah.
But I am gonna start picking up a lot more of the pistol oriented ones so I can stick with pistols. But now, Archon built me. So right now my loadout is 2 single action revolvers, 1 black powder pistol, 1 black powder rifle, and then a lever action rifle.
Okay.
And so that's kind of my character loadout. But so I built underneath of a pylon. I really like that particular farm. I can't remember the farm's name in Fallout 4, but it's directly west of
Abernathy?
Yes, Abernathy Farm. It's built into the pylon itself, and I was like, this is really cool. I like the idea of, using the landscaper where you are, using that as part of your housing and stuff.
Right.
That's why I love Simon Stallenhag's artwork. It's like reclaimed robots and things. So, So I decided building in this pylon, and the clipping just made it almost impossible to build inside of it, but I kind of made it work. And I've got a little farm. I got some crops, mainly razor grain and corn, so that way I can brew my whiskey and bourbon. I have a Brahmin to give me fertilizer for reasons I don't know, I think to make explosives. That, and it's just kind of cool to have a cow, I guess. I have a perimeter of... right, and then if you spam the milk button, it kicks you.
Yes.
Just like real life.
Just tug kick. And then I have a perimeter of turrets that are for the most part useless. And so the bottom floor is the workshop, the top floor is my living quarters. And I have a thing for wind chimes in real life, and it's just a bummer that I don't have more of them. I've only got one, and it's kind of in a location outside of my house that doesn't really get much wind unless it's a windstorm. So I've been wanting to start buying more wind chimes in real life because I love them. It's weird. Yeah. So I have them planted everywhere in my camp. They're underneath the porch. They're on the front. So you can walk out on the back porch. There was one part in the game where it was raining, and I walked out on my back porch and sat, and the wind chimes are tinkling, and the rain's coming down. I'm like, why can't I be here in real life? So that was really cool. There was one moment in the game that was pretty fun where my camp was being attacked by Scorched, and at this point I had put all my guns away because I was doing some inventory management, and I walked up to one of the Scorched and I punched him to death, picked up his 10mm handgun, walked up to the other two, was like bang bang, and knocked them both down. I was like, well, that was pretty cool. That felt pretty BA, But mainly I've just been working on the main storyline. I feel like questing is one of the most efficient ways to level up in the game. And so I've been working through the main storyline, and one of the most memorable points of it was when you have to fix the Scorch Beast detectors. And it's the highway that leads down to Harper's Ferry on the east side of the map. It starts in the north and goes from north to south, but it's the eastern highway. And there's a point in that where you're not in Kansas anymore. the like bridge, the road falls down into a swamp. So you drop down this like small cliff, and then you're kind of like, oh, things look different. Like everything looks deadly. And I was ambushed by 2 level 30 Wendigos. And yeah, they were the same level as me, but they're Wendigos. They're not necessarily the easiest things to kill in the game. And I did a lot of retreating on that one. I got ambushed by 2 Wendigos along with a pack of feral ghouls, and then they decided to go tick off a giant hermit crab. And then when I finally finished off those guys, and again, I'm using single action revolver, so it's not like I can reload very fast.
Yeah.
I'm like standing in the street, you know, like putting a bullet at a time in the revolver, and then at that moment a whole new pack of feral ghouls spawns right in front of me. They just kind of like drop down out of the sky, and I'm like, again? And then after I kill them, another level 30 Wendigo. So I survived all that and kept moving south, and I got into the swampy area, and I came upon a church, and it's like a little building in a church, and it was this, the lore behind it was there were these bandits that got there, and there were settlers there, and the settlers were trying to be nice to people. They were trying to help people and bring them in, because I guess it was a small like religious, you know, church community, and bandits came in to take stuff, and one of the bandits just mowed everyone down, just blew them all away. And there's a couple notes around there that are like they hear, like, you know, he's like, I was doing my rounds the other night, and I hear this like strange music coming out of the church, and I went over there to see if anyone was drunk and playing music, and no, everyone was asleep. And then, like, they was talking about the church was, you know, there was music coming from the church, and like, you know, nobody was playing music or whatever. And then, like, out of nowhere, as I'm reading this note, I get smacked, and I look up, and there's like 3 feral ghouls and a Wendigo, and I'm like, where did you come from? And that was not at all fun. So I finally kill those, and I'm like walking around this church, and I hear the organ music playing, and I'm like, there's no organ around, there's nobody here, and I leave. And because why would you stick around, you know, like,
Right? Yeah.
I don't want some Ghost of Mr. Chicken stuff going on here. I'm gonna go. And I kept heading down to Harper's Ferry, but that particular, I want to go back and explore it a little bit more, because I wasn't equipped for that area, and I'm not really a high level, and that area is very tough. But I can't wait to go back to that, you know, southeast side where it's very creepy, swampy. It very much reminds me of like the Glowing Sea almost, where everything's just kind of dead. Oh, the chat room's starting to get on me about the Wendigo. Wendigo?
People have gotten on me about that, and I'm like, listen here. That's enough.
What's that alternate? There's like an alternate pronunciation of that, like Wendigo.
The correct pronunciation is Wendigo.
Wendigo, but there's another one that has a K sound in it, so I'll just start using that one.
Oh, Wendigo.
Yeah. So, you know Wendigo now. So
Maybe the Wendigo ate your mate, baby.
Well, speaking of, do you guys remember when we were exploring together? There was a time where it was 5 of us. I mean, I know we couldn't all be on a team, but it was 5 of us hanging out. And we dropped down this little cliff, and there was a mother skeleton, or at least I'm assuming because of the dress.
Right.
She was draped over the little stroller,
Yeah.
and there was a dead wolf with like a Bowie knife in it, and the father was draped over a rock with a bat, and like you could tell like they were attacked by a wild wolf, and she died like defending her baby, and you know, just somebody was telling me today that they're like, man, Fallout 76 is like no story. I'm like, I think it's the most immersive Fallout story-wise I've ever played.
And like
of
that's
the
thing,
3,
like, the people that say that, they probably just fast travel everywhere. Like walk the map, and you will find those things and be amazed at the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, walking the map like you were saying you're doing is definitely a tactical thing, a choice you have to make, because 1, will I have the ammo to get there? 2, will I have the resources to fix everything when I'm done this journey? But it does change your perspective on the wasteland when you journey there by foot. It really does. So yeah, I got down to Harper's Ferry and discovered it and got that last Scorcher thing done and promptly left. But you know, the thing that I love about Fallout 76 and getting really immersed into it and playing it is the diverse nature of the map, and the woods. You know, it's really a lot of fun in that regard. A lot more fun than I thought it would be. And then playing with everyone, you know, it was. I mean, it was. You know, you, me, Shalene, Arch, and Jess, and we all got together and like we were trying to get. I forget what it was. Oh, we had decided to attack a Scorch Beast, and we were fighting the Scorch Beast, and we finally kill it, and then someone's like, "There's a level 80 Deathclaw in this cave," and we're like, "Let's go!" And we like run and like go and kill it, and then the game crashes for all of us, and. But like those were really epic moments of like, oh, and then after we killed the Scorch Beast, we got ambushed by like level 60 like Scorched. You remember that? And they're like in the bushes. He couldn't see him. I was like, this is very Vietnam. Like, throwing grenades into the bushes and just seeing body parts fly
out of the bushes.
Oh my gosh, it was so
my
epic
gun
and so much
my
fun.
Death Tambo, bro.
Yeah,
I just happened to find a Death Tambo on the ground.
Yeah, like Shalene's like, you know, use the weapons and she finds stuff on the ground and swinging, and I just pull out my M79 grenade launcher and I'm just lobbing grenades, and I'm like, I don't care, and like you'd hear Arch and go like, whoa, and you'd see a body just kind of go off into the air, blood trails out.
I would also like to point out that Shalene and I death tamboed the Scorch Beast.
You did.
Yeah, it was glorious. It's probably one of the higher moments in my Fallout 76 career.
It was magnificent.
And then
The real ringer.
yeah, and then there's me sitting on the ground like, reloading, you know, like with my 10-second reloads and my black powder stuff.
Yeah, just hold on.
Yeah, Kerfuffle says, is this Platoon or Fallout? And yeah, it was a very, like, you know, I used to play Vietnam games, and it was like, yeah, it was like that kind of thing. Like the enemies in the bushes, I see the tracer rounds coming, but I don't see the bad guys. And then because of Fallout glitches, you go look for the dead bodies. You're like, they're not there. There's nobody dead here. Where did they go? You know.
And I love every time that we log on to play again together. It's like, you got to come over and see my base and see what I've done. Come see my camp. And then we all go over to someone's camp and we're like, wow, you put up pictures or something new.
Look at this plant.
Yeah, look at this succulent I put in the window. It's amazing.
Everyone turns into a southern lady at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, my house.
Is that houndstooth? My God.
Just look nice if you put some nice little glass porcelain trinkets up there on the window, and then you dust it. You know. It's funny because of my family's not super southern, but I do have southern roots. Family's from West Virginia and North Carolina. My grandmother would collect all these little like ceramic trinkets and like these weird friggin' like glass birds and cardinals and stuff. And I did get that a little bit where Vendor and Shalene you guys might not know what this is. But Red Rose Tea, do you know what this is, Dave?
Yes, and they have the little things.
Yes, yeah, the little porcelain figurines.
That's like a big thing.
Oh yeah, I collect them, man. Like
people on the Antiques Roadshow, Rick, they like look for those.
Oh,
it's like a thing.
I love those little porcelain They sit on my windowsill on my sink, next to my sink. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I love them.
And Shalene, by the way, earlier in this episode, you called me tacky. Of course, I'm tacky. I haven't.
It's just tacky. Your Vendertron gets killed. You're shooting his dead body.
I did. He's laying on the ground. I'm just nailing him in the head. His head's flopping. So I want to see what happened.
Captain Coots in the chat has a question for all of us. They'd like to know the number one thing each of we all would want in Fallout 76.
The ability to drop items and not have them be in a paper bag, like to display items.
Yes. Now that we're on the topic of trinkets, I would love to line up all my little forks and knives on my table and set the table.
Yeah. I want to put my teddy bear collection on a shelf.
Yeah.
I want dual wielding.
Ooh.
I want dual wielding 6 shooters like O'Bannon from Hell on Wheels. Yeah. I do. I want to
I mean, you're talking to the guy who like spent 3 hours lining up all the books on his bookshelf in Skyrim.
Yeah.
Like, I want that. I want to be able to do that.
Ben Yannick says the ability to name power armor. I would honestly like to name anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What about you, Dave?
I think getting rid of limitations of where you can put your camp. I think that would solve a lot of my woes.
Yep.
Because Fallout is about like, oh, we're in this old location that used to be used for this, but now we use it for this. Like, here's an aircraft carrier. We made a city.
Yeah, you're right. Reclaiming.
Naturally get together and make like actual towns that are not just like my puny little city. Where you would actually have people working. If you just got rid of, and it's just got rid of where you can build the camp, and like obviously you would have stuff that would clip like walls and stuff, but I don't think that's ever stopped Bethesda.
Yeah.
No, a little clipping won't hurt anyone.
Clipping in Bethesda would never happen.
No.
But yeah, so that's my gameplay in a nutshell, and all of our gameplay kind of intertwines. And Shalene, I'm going to lead in with a story that I want you to pick up on, where you finished the excavator power armor, and you're like, I'm just gonna go scan it. It'll be fine. It'll be good. And me and Vendor are like, no, we'll come with you. And you're like, no, it's all right. It'll be fine. And then like 5 seconds later, she's like, I've got regrets. So when I get there, I just see this absolute chaos. And Shalene, please take it away and just explain what I spawned into when you're like, ah.
So there were a bunch of pretty high-level robots in the parking lot there, right? And I was chucking plasma grenades at them. And I'm on the call with the guys, and I'm like, guys, I think I've got a bit of a situation here. and so they're like, all right, we're coming. We're going to help you.
I'm reloading. I'm coming.
I'm chucking plasma grenades. And Rick gets there first, right? And he walks in, and the entire parking lot is on fire. I've managed to blow up all the cars, all the robots. There are just mushroom clouds around.
Chain reactions.
Yep, pretty much.
I was like, what is it? What?
So good. Oh man, it was so perfect. They got there, and I'm like, you know what, guys? I got it. I'm good. Thanks. I'm good.
She comes walking out of the flames, and she throws the gun off to the side. She's like, I got this.
It was, yeah.
But that was really fun, and you guys, along with Archon and Jess, kind of protected me through that little section there in that place, because I was not necessarily equipped to be there with those level of enemies. So
yeah, it was like an
I got
assaultron.
our armor scanned. It was good. I was down in the basement, and I was like, guys, I've got a problem. They come down. There's an assaultron. There's two Mr. Gutsies.
Two. It was like 50.
I love playing with them because it's like, we're like, oh my God, you guys, we got to get 4 more screws. And they're like, we've got 400. Do you want some?
I was
like,
complaining
yes,
I didn't have
please.
any steel scrap, and Archon's like, here's 400. I was like, what?
It would have been months for me to wait before I could build that power armor if Jess hadn't dropped 100 screws in my lap.
Yeah. I was so grateful. I gave her my piano, which I think was a gift from Joseph Tao. So
that's a lovely gift.
If you're listening,
You
I'm
regifted it.
I regifted
Here,
it.
have this grand piano. It's kind of a pain to move, so I'm not taking it with me. You know?
I'm sorry.
It needs
That's so
tuned.
good.
It's just a thing. So anyway.
So I've been playing the story mode on my Xbox character. I'm still going through the Rose quests for her. And I had a really surreal experience, you guys. Totally just surreal experience. So I was walking to my next quest, and one of the messenger events popped up where you meet the Mr. Handy and you have to replace his navigation core, and you escort him somewhere, and he delivers a utility bill or whatever. And so I was doing this quest, and another little character popped up. They were a low-level character, and they did the event along with me. It was nice. And I showed this character some stuff I had noticed, like there's a Nuka-Cola Quantum here. So I'm like, hey, you want this Nuka-Cola Quantum? And like, you want these stim pack? You want these things that are around here? Because it was a low-level character. I thought this person, could probably use a little bit of stuff more than me. And then I moved on with the quest I was doing. And a little while later, I hear footsteps, and I turn around, and there's the character. They're following me. And I'm like, oh, okay. So they want to be friends. That's fun. and we fought some stuff. We were traveling together. It was really fun. And I would point out stuff I would see on the way. I'd be like, you want this? Or like, dropped her a couple of stim packs because we were fighting stuff that was above her level because, I would get there first and would be higher level than her. And we took on this level 52 Mr. Gutsy, and my Xbox character is in the 20s somewhere. Just shouldn't be tangling with the level 52 Gutsy. This other character was level 8, I think. And we took on this level 52 Gutsy, and I left her to die. And I felt really bad about that because I went around to hide behind a tree. And then I looked up and there was her body. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, new friend. I'm sorry. I felt so bad. And I went back and we beat it together. And then I get a message over Xbox Live. And she's like, oh my gosh, are you the Xiii?
Wow.
It's like,
the Xiii.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh, do you know the podcast? And she's like, yeah, I do. And I felt so excited. I think I was more excited to be recognized than she was to meet me.
That's cool.
So shout out to Warrior 91 on Xbox.
Warrior 91, here.
Wait. So your story about you running away or whatever, like Insomniac in the chat's like, so boldly ran away, bravely, brave Sir Robin. Like, bye.
But that was just a totally surreal experience to run into somebody in the wasteland that knew the podcasts.
Cool.
It was really, really cool. And I've done a lot of things with my PC character, who of course is Jim Justice. And Dave, we were reporting on some story ages ago at the beginning of this show when the governor of West Virginia had mentioned something about Fallout, and we were just so in love with the name Jim Justice. We thought, well, we've got to name a Fallout character Jim Justice.
Yeah.
Oh, Shalene, Jim is a character. Jim, and I try to keep politics out of a lot of what I do with the podcast. Jim is what I think Donald Trump wishes he was, where he is like truly an everyman kind of dude. Mm-hmm. He has some great quotes, and my favorite quote is about bringing people into West Virginia. He got in front of a group of people and he said, listen, we want, and this is, well, let me do the accent. Listen, we want everyone in West Virginia to live the life that they want to, and we want everybody to come and want to live in our state. So bring everybody. Bring your in-laws and your outlaws. Whenever I see my friend, I'm like, did you bring your in-laws and your outlaws? He's like, yep. Got him.
Oh, that's so fantastic.
I guess they're opening up the West Virginia Penitentiary again.
Yeah, he does a lot of publicity stunts. Like one time the Senate made literally, they made some budget bill and he didn't like it, and he called it bullcrap, and then came and had 2 platters, and then on one platter he opened it up and it was a cheeseburger, and he was like, this is metaphorical to my bill. And then he had another silver platter and he opened it up and it was literal cow poop. And he was like, this is what I think about your bill.
Oh my. That's West Virginia though.
We'll see something about that later on.
There's something about the honesty of most people in West Virginia. It's just beautiful. Does this look bad on me? You bet your sweet bippy. Take it off.
Well, my Jim Justice is a very pretty fellow with a lovely pink pompadour. He's a very fancy gentleman, and he likes nice clothes, whether it is, a lovely suit or a delightful evening gown. And Mr. Jim Justice is a fisticuffs character. He loves to punch things with his Beth Tambo. So that's my PC character, Jim Justice. And I ran the Nukashine quest line with Vendertron. He talked about that earlier. I really enjoyed the Nukashine quest line. I thought it was a little short, but I thought it was really high quality. And I really loved the speakeasy and the environments that they introduced us to. It sort of reminded me of the best offerings of the Creation Club, sort of like the Tunnel Snakes quest and the Hubris Comics quest.
I think we also have to give kudos to the voice actor of Biv.
It is so good.
That was very well done. Very well done.
What if he was actually sloshed
Like
when he did
inebriated? Yeah, it was
like
good.
we want you to
I
get
enjoyed
into
that
character.
questline.
Why did Bill show up drunk for work? Oh, he's getting into character.
And I always
Method acting.
forget. Like to this day, I always forget that the Nuka Shine, when the hangover comes,
It's like
you
real
go
life.
somewhere else.
It's like real life. It's like, why do I always forget? Drinking makes me feel like this. The next day, you're like, I'm gonna drink again.
So funny playing with Vendor since Nuka Shine was introduced, because sometimes he just disappears.
Like one time I woke up on this edge of this cliff in a bathtub of moonshine and teddy bears, and I was like, I don't even know where I am. Like, this is terrible. It's like, I feel like Trevor. Yeah, Trevor on GTA 5, exactly.
I do this in real life though. My buddy has a Christmas party, and every year I'm like, I tell my wife, I'm like, Sarah, I'm not gonna drink this much this year. She's like, you said that last year, and then you said that the year before that. I'm like, yeah, but this year it'll be different. She's like, okay.
It always happens, and then you wake up the next day and you're like,
oh.
She's holding your hair out of your face.
Yeah.
holding your sideburns out of your
holding,
face.
yeah.
Yeah, the Nuka Shine quest was good.
It was
We should do it again.
fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And we did the Fosnut Parade, which was also really fun. Definitely enjoyed hanging out with you guys for that. Rick turned invisible, which was my favorite glitch so far.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
His beret and his glasses were still visible. So he was the Preston Garvey outfit, but no face, but glasses and a hat. Kevin Bacon, the Invisible Man.
Apparently the news is that the sunglasses are causing that glitch.
Okay.
That's why I wear
So if
them.
you put the
their
sunglasses
have
on,
invisibility.
yeah.
It was really funny. We enjoyed that quite a lot. And you guys, I jumped on with the two of you, and you're both like, hey, you should come see my camp. It's really great. And I just want to say, I felt like an Animal Crossing NPC. So Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, right? I've played a ton of Pocket Camp, many
Yes.
in Listerland.
You find a way to put this in every single episode we do.
She does, yeah.
I love Pocket Camp. It's good. So when you, as the Pocket Camp player, invite one of the animal friends to come to your camp, you have to construct furniture that they like, and then they'll come visit you. And then you get a little cutscene where the animal sits on the couch you made and turns the lamp on and off and like stands in front of the cool furniture and sings a happy tune. And when I went to your camps, I absolutely felt like this was my cutscene. I'm at vendors. I'm like, oh, look, the chaise longue. This is nice. Oh, well, it's so soft. And I turn on his lamp. I'm like, oh, this is nice. Look at this lamp. I play the tuba. I'm like, oh, what a fine tuba you
Oh
have.
no, I'm gonna have to clean that mouthpiece again. Thanks.
And then I go to Rick's house, and Rick is like, yeah, check out my house. I'm like, oh, look at the mute fruit farm. I'm gonna pick a mute fruit. And oh yes, look at these benches around the fire pit. I'll sit in the bench. Oh, look at this cow in the backyard. I'll milk the cow.
Oh, it kicked me.
But I had a great time touring your camps. I'm not much of a builder myself. My little camp is the smallest cook fire possible, the smallest stash box possible, and a workbench when I need one.
You camp.
So it's been, that's it. That's what
Well, I've got bunk beds.
Yeah, so I'll sleep over at your
I'm
house.
just saying.
you don't
you can
mind.
move in. You can move in.
Yeah, it'll be good. Thank you.
Mhm.
But yeah, I had fun touring your camps. You guys did great things with your camps. I enjoyed it. And of course, we took on our first Scorch Beast. It was my first Scorch Beast. I think you guys had killed Scorch Beasts previous to this. And Vendor and I were out there punching it to death with death tambos.
Oh, so good.
which was just glorious. It was so fun. So fun. We went to the pumpkin house. It was amazing.
And then the costume place.
Yeah.
Yes, that was really a good time. And then we did some more Fosnut with Archon and Jess, which was greatly enjoyable. And after we were done with that, Jess and I were at the White Spring, and you guys had left. I don't remember why, but it was just Jess and I. And these two Scorch Beasts appear in the air.
Oh, yeah.
They're both level 80 Scorch Beasts. And Jess is like, okay, we're doing this. And I'm like, okay, we'll do this. This is fine. We can take these level 80 Scorch Beasts, no worries. And the robots were helping, and that was good. But then at some point, the robots turned against Jess. So she was fighting the robots and the Scorch Beasts. And my gun had broken. My lever action had broken. So all I had was the Death Tambo.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Jess, if you bring it down, I can help. But it has to land. It has to land. She's like, oh, no problem. No problem.
They're like,
if you want a tip of like a surefire way to get them to land is kill the Scorch that are with them. And it's kind of like waves. So if you kill that wave, but once it goes back up, another wave will spawn. Unless it's glitched. If it's glitched, then it's a different thing.
I always thought it was just an inconvenience that Scorched always showed up while I was attacking a Scorch Beast.
The Scorch Beast definitely bring them.
Really? Like, can't you see I'm busy?
Scorch Beast is like their mom.
Yeah.
But eventually the Scorch Beast did land, and I punched it to death with my Death Tambo. I suppose that just helped a little bit. 3 times my level. I believe she helped a little bit.
She was just shooting every time you punch to make it look like, look at all the damage I'm doing, Mom. And she's like, yes, of course.
It is absolutely like that. Absolutely. There is no one quite as useless as a Fisticuffs character in the beginning of a Scorch Beast fight, you guys. Like, I've never been more helpless in a video game.
I know, but you got to see the second that thing lands, it's like, get in there, slugger.
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah.
The Death Tambo is kind of OP.
Melee is OP.
Tambo.
It's so powerful. We were hunting legendary ghouls at the White Spring, and everybody wanted to tag them, so that everybody could get some of the rewards off of the body. And I would punch them, and they would die, and I'd be like, "I'm sorry, guys."
Yeah, it's like one sucker punch, and they're just, like, done.
One punch girl.
You know what I'm really disappointed though by is that you can't mod the Death Tambo.
Hey, look, you can't mod half the weapons I use anyway, so I feel.
Like, I would love to add some, some glitter to my Death Tambo.
We could bedazzle it,
and then every time I punch somebody, it's like glitter everywhere.
I don't know.
Wouldn't that be great?
Death Tambo is one of the best weapons in Fallout history.
Oh gosh, I would.
Cowbell attachment. That's what I want.
That's great.
Yeah, we need more cowbell. Yeah. I got a prescription. I got a fever, and the prescription is cowbell.
I did have one more little story that I just wanted to share. So on GameStack last week, our general gaming podcast that we do, we mentioned that Ps4 Remote Play is a thing. So you can play, your PS4 games from anywhere on an iPad or an iPhone, which is super cool. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is great. I tried it out. It worked. And I was playing Horizon on my iPad. It was cool. And immediately my thought was, I can play Fallout on my iPad from anywhere.
Oh.
This is a game changer. Like, this is something I've wanted all my life. So they're having a sale right now. I picked up a copy of Fallout 4 for PS4. This is my 3rd copy of Fallout 4. And I booted it up and tried it out, and it worked, and I was happy. But when you play on the PlayStation 4, I don't know if you guys play your PS4s too much, but you get this little message that pops up, and it says basically, Shalene played Fallout 4 for the very first time.
Yeah.
So this message popped up.
Weird.
And my gamer tag is public, right? I'm Kid Shalene everywhere. And so a lot of listeners are my friends on PS4, and I got a bunch of comments on that message like, "Oh, I see you finally tried Fallout 4."
Like, how dare you make a whole podcast about it?
I have a feeling you're gonna like this game. I just thought that was hilarious.
That is
and
funny.
I wanted to share it with you guys, and that's my gameplay.
Nice. Well, that's cool. I'm so glad that we're all playing Fallout again. I was a little worried when, like, I was like, man, I really don't like Fallout 76. What are we gonna do? And like, you know, it's just like, you know, I was a little nervous that there wouldn't be as much traction going forward with that Fallout show. But I think we're gonna be okay. And that's the challenge of making a show that's solely about one particular game franchise. But speaking of challenges, glad that I brought that up. We're gonna recap last week's challenge. And last week's challenge was participate in the Fosnut Parade. And boy, did you guys deliver. So let's go ahead and get into that now.
Oh, I'm ready.
First up, we have Archins. He says, I have Fosnutted a few times. I should have watermarked it with a Brazzers logo. But he's... There he is standing in front of Old Man Winter's pyre, I guess you could say. And then there he is with a whole collection of his friends standing and posing with that awful clown mask with that Slipknot long nose looking thing. So that's Archins there. We got Ben Yannick making runs, parading about, collecting masks. And he's there with, he got a picture with the Mr. Handy. What's that Mr. Handy called? The one with the violins.
Master of Ceremonies.
Master of Ceremonies. And
yeah. It's
someone's
so
wearing
cute.
that.
He's got a little flute and a violin, and is it a little tuba, Shalene? I think.
A trumpet.
Trumpet.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
Bugle.
A what?
A bugle horn.
Oh gosh! All right, sorry. I don't know my wind instruments very well.
Or is it a cornet?
Moving right along.
Flugelhorn.
Captain Bones posted a picture of his giant mask saying, "A face for radio."
I love the giant mask. It's so creepy.
Really
Actually,
is.
yeah, that is the giant mask.
I wonder if those are golf balls for eyes. That'd be great.
Co-op in Crime posted having lots of fun with this event, and it's a whole crew of people. One person's forgetting they're in a dress and they're kneeling, so thank you for that one. But everyone's wearing owl masks. It's a pretty cool picture. There's people in power armor in the back. One person's laying down. Very.
The owl mask and the power armor looks pretty badass.
It does.
I like it.
One person. Nice. One person's got their Burt Reynolds pose going on. So yeah. Let's see. The next one up is Droshanka. Group couldn't contain their excitement for the parade to commence, and it's a bunch of people posed around, and they got it so weird when they popped a balloon, there was confetti in the picture.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That was very good. And it looks like a lot of people they were posing with the robots about to start the parade, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
At Feldon Woodwind says, I'm the one in the mask. And nice. Yeah, there's a couple people sitting around there. One person's in like a really creepy old looking dress. Ugh.
Yeah, what is that black dress?
Gosh, it's like...
That's the witch's outfit, I believe.
Oh, is it? Man, it's terrifying.
Fabulous, I want one.
Do you get that in the Atomic Shop? Is that...
You can find it at
It's a
the
quest item?
Halloween store and through the Rare Responder vendor.
Oh, okay.
There's one from Gerfuffle. Happy Fosnut Day. I'm the one on the far left. And there's three of them there standing with their hands on their hips looking up in the air.
Of course Gerfuffle would be in the clown outfit.
With the goofy, weird mask. They're all goofy and weird. We got at Matt Crumbly, burn winter to the ground. And I agree. It was sleeting today.
Yeah.
He's standing in front of
Goodbye,
the
winter.
Old Man Winter pyre with his owl mask on. And then we've got Pip Bennett. Pip Benet? Have we figured out it was Pip Benet? You're muted, dear.
Pippine.
Okay. He steals your joke. What a hoot! And he's wearing the
Who
owl
would
mask
make that
with
joke?
the.
That's terrible.
It's a terrible joke.
Oh my gosh.
And he's got the mystery dress on. I forget what it's called, but we got Suroct 42. Mr. Heat Miser and his son, and he's got the red face mask. I can't think of what it's called, but that's a rare one.
The
That's the summer, the old man summer.
Oh, the summer. That's a rare one.
Yeah, that's the one you can purchase in the Atomic Shop.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's Shalene standing there with a bunch of us. Fosnut Shenanigans with me, Arch and Jess, Vendor. And Vendor, we're all hanging out there.
It fashnashed.
Yes.
Fashion act.
I'm sorry. I pronounced it so badly for comedic effect so long that I have.
You stuck with your guns.
Stop and think.
You committed to the bit, as it were.
I love it. It's good.
And then we've got Unlooted Vault, who's standing there in the toothy mask, saying Swedish accent. I don't really know how to do. I don't know how to do
German that you did the other show.
Would you kids like some of my Fastnut candy?
That's good.
But I feel like it should be like, would you kids like some of my Fastnut candy? Because like his teeth anyway. And then Dave, or I'm assuming you posted this on Facebook.
Yes,
Vault
that's
Boys.
me. I run all the social media. It's just me.
Okay,
It's just me, guys.
it's just me all alone. I like and retweet my own stuff from multiple accounts.
Yeah.
Later tonight, I'll be yapping my mouth on that Fallout show, so I figured I should pull my weight and get this on the TFS challenge. It's a bunch of people hanging out and standing at the start of the parade. No, at the first. It looks like the first wave of the parade.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome.
Fabulous.
And there's me. I didn't submit it on Twitter, but that's the one I took of the very first time I did the Fosnut parade with my witchy mask. So
In your
yeah,
Preston Garvey outfit.
my Preston Garvey outfit.
Another parade needs your help.
Another parade needs my help. So, every hour at least. So, next week, Shalene, what's the challenge for next week?
Go spelunking in the Wendigo Cave. So
Oh,
I found
Lord.
the Wendigo Cave on
It's
my Xbox
awful.
character, and I thought, I don't need this negativity in my life right now, but I'm going to tackle it again, and I would like for all of you to suffer along with me. So let's go to the Wendigo Cave and find out what's in there. And I thought we could be mean and
Find out what's in there. I don't know.
Using a crossbow or something in the Wendigo Cave. But I think I'm just going to say, let's go to the Wendigo Cave.
I also think that that's a good opportunity to do the clown outfit too, to get that challenge.
Gerfuffle says, Shalene, don't make me do it again. Please. Shalene, no.
I had to do it. We all had to do it.
We must. We are going to the Wendigo Cave. We'll go together, Gerfuffle. We'll all go in bands. We'll hold hands. Everybody find their buddy. Don't split up from your buddy. We'll hit the gift shop on the way out. It's gonna be good.
Was that in the movie Heavyweights where like everyone had their buddy and they would yell out "Buddy" and they would? Was that movie? Never mind.
I don't know.
I guess nobody's seen that movie. It's a good movie. But yeah. So how can they submit their challenge entries?
The best way is on Twitter. Use the hashtag TFS Challenge. You can tag us in the post also at that Fallout show. But that's how we find them every week. Sometimes we get people submitting them on other platforms, but when we put them together for the show, we use the Twitter hashtag TFS
Yep.
Challenge. So that's how you get them in. Try and get it by Thursday evening before we record that Fallout show, because sometimes we do it then.
Awesome. And if you're wondering what this other fourth person is hovering up in the corner, speaking every once in a while, the reason he is here is because, well, you host another Fallout podcast that we're going to take down. Support.
He's an intern. He's an intern.
No, your Fallout podcast is
pretty. Show you some Jim Justice, Rick. It's about to go down.
No,
big Jim up in here.
I believe
we're actually walling you up in a behind
cement
a wall right now.
No.
Yeah, your
For the love of God, Montresor.
your podcast is unique in how it ties in with Fallout, specifically Fallout 76. And Dave, tell us a little bit, like, what would be your elevator speech of what your podcast is?
Right. So, I've always wanted to do a podcast. I was taking a poop one day.
As all great ideas come from, as terrible things are leaving, good things are coming in, right?
Hashtag poop thought.
Poop thought. I think I was actually watching Love Island, and then my
This is
buddy
great.
Austin texted me and said, "Hey, I think they're doing a Fallout in West Virginia. And I was like, they're not doing a Fallout in West Virginia. That's stupid. Why would they do that? and so then I go on and I watch and I'm like, wait a second. That's like in the preview, that's every location. And I was like, okay, so my background is I'm a geographer. That's technically what my day-to-day job is. But I also have this background in Appalachian studies where in college I was essentially studying Appalachia, and that's from I had a class in like folk culture where we were going through literally all folk culture, where we had guys bringing in moonshine for us to have in little like paper cups and drink it and be like, oh, this is historically accurate and I'm drunk.
And every moonshine's like, yep, pretty bad.
This is great. Yeah, A+. No, I like dendrology, Appalachian forests. What else? Water studies, political science issues. Essentially, there was this minor that I was interested in, and it's really started with my mother, who was interested in my family history, and I had her on the show talking about that. But anyways.
See, Shalene, we could totally have your mom on the show.
Yeah.
I think we should get Dave's mom and my mom on a show together.
Fall Boys West Virginia put their mom on the show. Just saying.
So essentially, I got together with my buddy, Austin, who is a photographer, journalist, and he doesn't really mention on the show, but he works for West Virginia Tourism. And he and I got together. We're like, let's just like make a podcast about Fallout. And so we recorded our first episode in here, and we both had mics. And then I found out that I was only recording on one mic.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I need to go back and listen to this. And so then I was like, okay, I need to set up a structure. And so during that time, I was going through and listening to, because I like listen to podcasts generally. I was listening to other podcasts. I was listening to this one podcast. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to name this podcast. I think that's a joke. Am I doing it right?
Podcast. It is a joke.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. You can. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you all hadn't, I think, come out with this iteration yet. So I listened to that. And then I was listening to this other podcast called The Nucleus.
Yeah. I'm familiar with that.
It's like a lore-based podcast. And I was like, okay, that's like what covering a single like franchise is about. It's like, okay, well, how do we transition this into like a single game?
Yeah.
And I was listening to Destiny podcasts, and I was listening to like Division podcasts, and I was like, oh, this is kind of boring. Like, it was a lot about stats and it was a lot about this. And I was like, what's something like fun that we can bring to the table? And I was like, well, we can just talk about history. And so each week we kind of start off with just literally BS. If it's me and my co-host, we start talking about our week. I think it's important to do that because part of West Virginia culture is being part of the community and being friends with people, and so we kind of let that part in there for a while. Then we talk about the game, and then each week we cover a single subject in the game. So kind of theme it around that. So last week we did a moonshining episode where we talked about the history of moonshine, bootlegging, NASCAR, me in an Appalachian fraternity where I drank too much and made weird drinks and named it dumb stuff like moonshine. We get to bring like guests in. Well, we get to bring some guests in. I had my friend that went to Fosnot, not Fosnot.
Fashnashed.
He went there. I interviewed him. I've had Radford University Archives for Bluegrass, like the archivist for bluegrass music at Radford University, which is a Virginia-based university in Appalachia, talking about bluegrass music. That was an interview I had. I'd had my mom on there. Next week, we have Marshall University political science professor talking about Fallout 76.
Cool.
And she does a class that's literally politics and video games, and she talks a little bit about that.
Amazing.
That's cool. Next Wednesday. But generally, when it's with my friend, we have these personal connections to the story and to these places, and it's like, this game, and it's like a miracle. Number one, it was like a perfect setup because I just thought that they were going to be these locations in the game. It's like maybe they want to know more, but then they were like super accurate about everything, and then they made it so it's like Dark Souls, where like all of the story is in item descriptions, so it's more fun to have like somebody tell you about the background and stuff, like either outside of it or like while you're playing the game, and you're getting kind of that like togetherness. I suppose that's why people watch some Dark Souls. People like Oxhorn is a great example of somebody who kind of puts the different pieces together and makes some sort of content around it. So each week we have a conversation. We've been to the Mothman Festival. We talk about that. We talk about most of the cryptids in the game, most of the towns and cities. It's great that we have this roadmap because then that literally sets up the content that we make now.
Yeah.
Oh, you're releasing this update? Well, I know something about that.
Yeah, we'll do a show about it.
Right.
Thank you for planning our show for us, Bethesda.
Yeah.
Real quick on the cryptid thing. I am a huge fan of cryptozoology. I mean, it is one of my favorite things. I want monsters to exist like a passion. But they're like, you really want like deadly ED people monsters in the world? I'm like, yes, why would you not, you know?
Yeah.
So what is your, I have two questions here. What's your favorite West Virginia cryptid? And what is one West Virginia folklore monster or cryptid or thing that most people don't know about?
Well, my favorite, and everybody would probably have the same answer, is Mothman. But even more so, I think, just because I know people like that. The way that town is set up, it's so small. It's about an hour away from here. I try to go to Columbus Blue Jackets games. And so I pass by Point Pleasant all the time, and I generally stop for coffee down there. But there are people in that town that still claim that Mothman is real and they saw him. The guy who runs the Mothman Museum was the next door neighbor to the people that like had that very first account.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like, you know, it's at first I'd always thought, just growing up in West Virginia, I was like, you know, they probably just made that up. And they're like, oh, ha, 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 tourist industry. Like, we're get people here and say we had this thing happen. But they have either lied themselves into selling it extremely well, or in my opinion, I think that they believe that they saw something. And I think that's what's cool about it, is it's like they saw this creature and none of them are particularly afraid of it because of the prophetic nature that it has. So that's probably my favorite. The one that I would say is undervalued is the Flatwoods Monster. You see him a little bit in Fallout 76, but the Flatwoods Monster was one of the first things outside of Area 51 that was like an alien incident that like got written up in tabloids and papers, and people were drawing sketches of them. And it was this whole like, like the Flatwoods Monster started those like UFO searching like articles in newspapers and different stuff. It started a phenomenon in itself. And a lot of people don't give him like he's some like guy out there. A lot of people don't give him a lot of credit, but
like Bigfoot, that guy gets all the glory with his blurry picture.
Scotch is way better.
No, because all this stuff, like for me, started really young. I mean, there's a couple factors where when I was little, and to this day, I will promise you that I saw a UFO. And like I remember that scene so vividly in my mind. And then the mysterious ethos of my family, just very unknown to me. Like all of that put together. And, you know, I was into treasure hunting TV shows. Like I've always been fascinated with like the stuff that you don't know about or you don't see. And growing up in a haunted house only for it to be confirmed by my West Virginia step-grandmother, you know, at the age of like 12, you're like, you're not supposed to say yes, you know. You know, like literally I was like, it was at night one time and I was living in this house. They used to live in it. My grandparents used to live in it. And I was like, man, I swear I hear like footsteps in my room. Like I sleep with my face facing the wall because I'm too afraid to see what's walking around in the house at night. And she overheard me saying that, and she like ran up to me. She's like, "You hear stuff too?" And I'm like, "No, you're not supposed to like confirm a 12-year-old's fears." And so I've always been like fascinated with this stuff, and I was so happy that they allowed that aspect of it to be in the game. And I guess it's easy for that to suggest that folklore is a rich part of West Virginian history.
I would say that it folklore is West Virginia history. Like we kind of like Appalachia is like almost like Scotland or Ireland. Like it has its roots deep in folklore, and the people are so unique and have these stories that are carried over from Europe and these other areas, but because it's so insular, they kind of build up and have their own thing. I would say it's not only a rich part of the history, but it is the history.
Yeah.
Kind of kicking it back to Fallout a little bit. What was your like first Fallout experience? I know this is kind of a disjointed question, but what got you into Fallout?
Yeah, my first Fallout experience was Fallout 3.
So cool.
That was cool. That was cool in itself because technically I was born in West Virginia and lived on a border town in Virginia, and then moved back to West Virginia after college. And then it turns out that one of my best friends from high school moved down the street from me and was like, "Let's do a podcast." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine." So I had been to DC on trips and stuff a lot, and I was like, "This is cool. It's like Call of Duty, but more fun, and you get to do more stuff, have cool weapons, and talk to people."
Yeah,
that's awesome. Because my experience, to go back, I was still playing like PlayStation 2 games, and then my buddy was, "Got to get an Xbox 360 and get BioShock and Fallout 3." So I was like, "Okay, I'll do that." I got him, and I haven't had that like kind of generational jump since, where it's like, okay, this is what video games are now.
Yeah.
Those are the two that I was like, yeah, that's the one.
Huh.
Nice. Yeah, Fallout 3 I think was my first, and was it all of ours?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So we've all got that little common bond. So, going on about your show, how can people find you? Where are you? Like, where's it located? Where can they...
So we're on all podcasting services, so iTunes, all of that jazz. We have a YouTube channel. You can also go on if you want in video form. We don't record ourselves, so we're working on it, of getting that set up. But we're available on all services at VaultBoysWV. We're at Twitter at VaultBoysWV Pod. Instagram or Vault Boys WV podcast. I try to change up the content in between both of those, so that Twitter is literally just me tweeting, and so it's like everything in my soul not to tweet about like, "Oh man, I got a sweet kill in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice." So I try to keep it for the most time. But Instagram, I'll post like, I like to do when I can, like photos of me at a place or me and my wife at a place, and then the photo of me in the game at a place. I try to do that a little bit with the Instagram because I think this is the way they designed everything. But
yeah, they poured a lot of effort into recreating West Virginia in a square map, because it's not a square state. It's definitely not a square state. I have a strong connection. I hope that people got a little bit of taste for what your show's about. I have a connection with West Virginia. I think I mentioned a lot on the show. My family's from there. They settled there like way back when they came over, and so I have a very like deep connection there. And every time I go there, I'm just like, there's a part of me, like inner, reptile brain, where it's like I'm home. And it's a beautiful place. And I hope that people check your podcast out and get a little bit of what you're putting down, because it is a really weird, mysterious land. It really is.
Yes. And for our audio listeners, I just put in the Linktree URL into the chat room. All you need to do is go to linktr.ee/VaultBoysWV podcast. You can find every single link to every possible social media platform and way to access the podcast.
Yeah, you can get all that stuff through there. it is. I designed the show to be different from your show. Just from listening to the other show, I was like,
Wow, that's kind of high praise.
He's like, I'm gonna make this a better show.
well, no, it's not that. It's
well,
like
that's not hard.
It really isn't.
They already have this ecosystem, and it's like, I don't know enough about Fallout to do a show like that. I can rattle off like random West Virginia history though for like 30 minutes. So it's more like I described it before as like the Trojan horse is Fallout 76, and there's me on the inside with like Wikipedia and a history book.
Yeah.
Hey man.
It.
Well, I mean, at the end, go ahead, Shalene.
I just want to say, I think it's a really neat thing. When we started the show that shall not be named, there weren't Fallout podcasts on iTunes.
Yeah.
And now there are so many, and they all bring something completely different. Completely different. It's amazing. And it's just wonderful, having this huge community and meeting all these new friends with common interests. And I love it. I'm so glad that all of this is going,
At the end of the day, we do that Fallout show because we're the three best friends that anybody could have. We're the three best friends that anybody could have. We're the three best.
Stop singing. Yeah, I mean, there's room for every Fallout podcast at the table, and I think it's awesome to see everyone's different take. Like the lore cast is like a deep cut into like lore, and yours is super specific
I really
on.
like what Shalene said about it. It's like the NPR of like Fallout podcasts.
Yes.
But yeah, so awesome, and we're not done with West Virginia stuff, man. You have a trivia game for us to play.
I'm so excited.
If you want to,
I'm excited.
if you want to go ahead and
this in
share.
itself is I'll go ahead. We'll see if the sharing can work.
Yeah, it worked before this. We're gonna say that it worked again.
Before. We'll see if it does it now. Okay, let me get it all set up. But essentially, it is going to tie in. What you would do is your lore segment, and
This is gonna be so bad.
All right, let's see if it'll do. Okay. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we're
We can
good.
still hear you.
You can go ahead and pull up
Yeah,
the.
you've got your web browser. Oh, there we go. Very nice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to that Appalachian trivia show.
Oh no, oh no, this is gonna be.
This is gonna be so bad. We're gonna lose all of our credibility here.
Yeah.
To start off, the way that you pronounce the mountain range that which the game takes place is Appalachian. And if people say it differently, in Appalachia, there are 13 different ways to legitimately say Appalachia. So if somebody's like, I say it this way, I usually go, sure. But here in Central Appalachia, it's Appalachia. And an easy way to remember that is I'm going to throw this apple at you.
I've heard that before. I have actually heard that before.
Appalachia.
Appalachia.
All right.
Wow, I'll never look at it the same. It will never be the same.
All right.
So here's what we're going to do is everybody, instead of like, we don't have buzzers. I didn't include those. I didn't send those out to you all. So what we're going to do is we're going to take turns and we're going to go by the three of you. So for like the first round, we'll start. Shailene will pick a question. And then if she can't answer it, Vendor will get a chance to answer it. And then Rick will get a chance to answer it. Next round, we'll switch over. Vendor, you'll have a chance to pick a question and answer it. Rick, then Shailene.
Sure.
As you go.
Okay.
Why don't we go in order of the three tabs at the bottom there? Vendor goes first, and then Shalene, and then.
Oh no.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I dig it. Okay.
All right. Cool.
So Vendor, you have if you notice, you have the Republic of Dave.
Yeah.
No, I'm Dave. I couldn't name or like rhyme Shalene or Lopez with anything. So I chose your character Jim Justice here, and you've got Ranger Rickon, Super Vendertron, and Alternative Zoology.
Awesome.
Alternative zoology. Okay.
All right. Go ahead,
I'm
Vendor.
trying to study up.
So you pick. You said, Vendor, that you don't have Jeopardy in Canada.
No. Well,
So
we
how
do,
it
but I don't watch it.
Okay. Well, you pick a category and a dollar amount.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Republic of Dave for 300.
All right.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So what you will do is essentially you were supposed to answer in the form of a question. So I designed these as like this is the description of it, and then you try to name the thing.
Cool.
Right,
All right.
right.
So, my university senior thesis project was written about wildlife in this famous peat bog, known for its carnivorous plants and very wet landscape.
Oh, what is the cranberry bog?
You got it correct.
Oh man, what?
Wow. Okay.
300 to you.
Thanks,
Excellent.
Alex.
Oh, you're welcome. I cannot take the place of Alex. He is the Walter Cronkite of our generation. So, Shailene, you are up next. Will you pick one from the list?
Okay, I'm gonna take alternative zoology for 300.
Okay. Versions of this green being have appeared in media worldwide, including a farm invasion in the critically acclaimed video game The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Let's see.
You got this, Shalene. You got this.
I don't know. A green being? I'm gonna go with the Wendigo.
Okay, you are incorrect. Rick, you have a chance to steal this question.
Man, I don't even know. Versions of this green being have appeared in the world. I mean, an alien? Like extraterrestrial? I don't know.
You are incorrect. Bender.
Versions of this green bean farm invasion.
You'll have to name the specific cryptid.
Is it a bean? It like, oh, I guess that would.
It's a cryptid, not a plant.
I don't know.
All right, what is it?
It would be the Flatwoods Monster.
Oh, I didn't know it was green.
Nice.
And it has appeared in multiple video games, including Castlevania and Majora's Mask. So at the ranch there, you have to protect the ranch from alien invasions, and they designed all the monsters to look like the green monster from Flatwoods.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
So nobody gets points for that. Ha ha ha.
No. All right.
Formal in the chat says the host of Jeopardy is Canadian, so you have no excuse, Vendor.
I had no
Let's
clue
see.
about that. All right, Rick, you are up with our next question.
I'm going to take Ranger Rickon for 300 since we're all picking 300.
Oh. The bones of this mammal were discovered in a Lewis County cave and sent to Thomas
I know
Jefferson,
this.
where he would slowly brood over the existence of this ancient creature.
Oh, I do know this.
Yeah.
I do know this because I remember reading the story.
We covered this.
Did we?
Mhm.
Is it the snout? No, not the. Is it the snallygaster?
You were incorrect.
Ah.
No, Vinder, you have a chance to steal.
What is wood buffalo?
What?
I don't know.
That is wrong.
Shailene, I believe that you can answer this one.
It's the giant sloth.
Dang it.
Correct. Excellent.
The
Great
mega
job.
sloth.
So Thomas Jefferson became extremely obsessed with this. I think I covered this in episode 2 of Vault Boys. And
Nice plug.
It's why he made the Lewis and Clark expedition. It's because he wanted to prove to all of his European friends that we have really cool animals in America as opposed to Europe. Because all of his European friends were like, there's no mammoths in America. There wouldn't be any mammoths
Yeah,
there.
giant,
And he
slow
literally
moving
got so
animals.
obsessed with it that he denied the existence of the theory of extinction.
Oh my lord.
And on his deathbed, he wrote to, I think, James Madison, it was like, maybe I was wrong about extinction.
Because I'm dying, so.
All right, so Shailene, you're up next. Or nope, Vinder, you're up next. Sorry.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Okay, I'm gonna take Super Vendertron for 100.
Ding-a-ding-a-ding.
100, Dave.
Popularly known as black gold.
What is oil? Oh, damn it! It's oil! Texas tea! Come on!
It's not Texas, it's West Virginia, man.
Oh, get out of here, West Virginia.
Shailene had a chance to steal that, so I'm going to give her 100 points because I'm not following my own rules. And you know what? This is the show where the rules were made up and the points don't matter. So.
That's true. Except
Shailene, you are next.
this is going to show how much of a lunkhead I really am.
I'm gonna take political jimmies for 100.
Oh, here we go.
Wait, it's not fair.
Owner of farms, coal mines, resorts, and current governor of West
Oh,
Baghdad.
come on.
Jim Justice.
There he is.
Oh,
He looks
man.
better with a purple pompadour.
He
Yes,
does
there's
look
a
better.
there's a silver platter. There it is. There's
Oh my
the,
gosh.
there it is. As
I
had
love
mentioned
this
before,
guy.
That's the cow
Like,
poop. Oh man.
That's the cow poop, and there's their bill right there underneath it.
Wow.
Points for
That's a
Shailene.
statement.
All right, Rick.
Good job,
you are
Shailene.
up next.
I'm gonna try to catch up here with let's see, Republic of Dave for 500.
Oh, here we go.
Oh boy.
Though not officially recognized, anthropologists still study this triracial isolate group within Appalachia, mixing African, Native American, and European ancestors with a mysterious and still unknown background.
Shooting myself in the foot with this question.
I doubt any of you all will get this.
Oh
Nope,
my
got nothing.
Lord.
All right, I'll leave it open. Anybody got an answer to this?
Is it like Chippewa?
No, that's a known. We don't know. We don't know.
Okay. The answer is Melungeon, which is its own race within Appalachia. So my mother's family is all Melungeon, which makes me Melungeon. And back in the 1910s and 20s, you actually had to mark Melungeon on census papers.
Wow.
And even my
Wow.
great uncle, they had to send him to a farm because they were rounding up the Melungeon children to take them to special schools.
Such a Melungeon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what that was a fancy word for is that we had a little bit of African American in us.
Oh.
Ah.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's like the old version of mulatto, maybe.
Yes, but
Yeah.
the combination happened so long ago that it was just like they found all these people living in the mountains. They were like, "Oh, why are you all like really why do you all look Greek?" Essentially.
Wow, that's
We
interesting.
got drunk in Italy. Here we are.
Yes. Even though I don't have the tan skin, that is from my dad's side, but my mom is
Interesting.
very dark skinned.
I would have never have got that at all.
Never in a million years.
That's why it's 500. All right. So Vinder, you are up next.
Let's take Super Vendatron for 400.
Right. Is this 400? Let me see.
Oh no, it's about America. I'm probably gonna get it wrong.
America's resort, known for its 50s inspired decor, was often visited by Princess Grace Kelly and President Dwight D. Eisenhower.
This is probably in like Palm Springs or something.
This is
This
a
is
West
all
Virginia
West
game
Virginia
show
based.
vendor.
Oh, then
You
I
have
don't-
one
yeah,
state.
no idea. Absolutely no
Oh,
idea.
come
Are
on.
you sure?
Come on. Come on.
Appalachia Resort?
Oh, gosh. Shalene,
Bender,
answer
you know
this.
one. You know it.
I don't know it. I
Shalene,
don't know
answer it.
It's the Greenbrier.
Yeah,
Correct.
had no idea.
That's what they modeled the White Springs after in the game. Okay, so all of these are essentially either directly related to me or in the game. I would say that only these are directly related to me, as it's the Republic.
I
of-
picked the wrong 500.
So let's see here.
Shalene's turn.
Let's see. Shalene, you're next. You pick one.
I'll take alternative zoology for 100.
Okay. This famous winged creature gained national attention after chasing
Ah.
the Scarberry family away from the local munitions depot.
Mothman.
You are correct. Look at that little Mothman that flies up there at the mouth.
Nice.
Wow.
Looking real nice. Oh, there's Hillbilly Hot Dogs. That's if you're familiar with Hill Folk Hot Dogs, it's over there near the food production plant in Flatwoods. That's what it's modeled after.
Oh,
is
cool,
Hillbilly.
cool.
So, let's
All right.
see. Rick, you are up next.
I'm
Pick one for
gonna pick my category, Ranger Rickon for 500 because go big or
Ranger
go
Rickon.
home.
I like that. The coonskin wearing frontiersman, this coonskin wearing frontiersman served as a trapper, trader, sheriff, and delegate at the Virginia General Assembly.
Well, I'm not. Ugh.
I got it if you don't.
Really?
Yeah.
I knew
Ugh.
Shalene was gonna just blow us out of the water.
I knew I was going to do horrible, but not this horrible.
You didn't even answer it, Rick.
Just answer it.
Daniel Boone.
You
Oh,
are correct.
Wow.
That's who I was thinking of, but for some reason my mind was getting across with the Bowie. Both Bowie.
Mhm.
All right, Bender, you are up next. Go ahead and pick one for me.
Davy
Oh,
Crockett. I was
no.
getting it confused with Davy Crockett.
Political Jimmies for 200.
Or not Davy Crockett.
The colloquial term for non-union laborers who would fill in union positions during a strike.
He went hardcore on this. I thought it was going to be a lighthearted episode of...
Like temp workers?
Nope. Shalene, you have a chance to steal.
Scab.
You are correct.
This
What
isn't
the
even
hell is
fair!
that? Oh my god, what goes on in your country? You call people scabs?
Do you see why I end up being... Do you see why I end up being the guy who shoots and kills things in the games here?
Oh my god. Next question, Alex.
So in union, and when they would have protests and stuff, if you were a scab and tried to cross the picket line without guards, you would get the life beaten out of you.
Yeah,
And
you
it's
would.
Yeah.
a joke. You would get beaten up.
I
All right.
gotta get some points here.
All right, who's next? I forgot.
Shalene.
Shalene.
Who's next? I forgot.
Republic of Dave for 100.
All right. This riverside capital city is known for its gigantic golden dome that I can see out my window currently.
Charleston?
You were correct.
I don't like this
Oh.
game.
You can
Yes.
give my points to Rick.
No, no, no. No,
There you go, Rick.
don't.
You got 100.
Ugh, no,
You
it
got
doesn't
100.
count.
The points don't matter, remember?
It don't matter. She made that judgment call. I am just the host. I cannot overrule
All
that
right,
judgment.
all right. Ranger Ricken for 100. Let's go easy here.
All right. This organization holds an international jamboree that draws thousands of people to the mountain state and is often visited by the current sitting president.
The current sitting president?
I don't know anything. International Chamber.
I think I know this one.
Yeah, I have no idea.
If you were a member of this organization,
Oh man.
No.
I'm biting my tongue
Yeah.
so hard right now.
I have no clue what this is. Vendor.
all right.
Vendor?
No, I can't even just skip me.
All right, Shalene.
Boy Scouts.
Shalene gets another one. There you go, Shalene. Me and Shalene got together before this, and we rigged it all.
I'm gonna set up a game that's just all about music history and audio gear, and I will destroy.
Well, you're talking about the person that is in the room full of musical instruments, so we'll have to battle it out. In fact, that's how we're gonna settle the podcast wars. Is we're gonna have a base off.
Oh yeah, right.
Yes. All right. Who's next?
Vendor.
Super Vendertron for 200.
Okay. Let's see. In Gaelic, they would refer to this product as the water of life, and was brought
I
to
know
Appalachia
this!
by Scottish and Irish ancestors.
Can I quickly just tell you how I know this? It's not gonna give away the answer. Actually, answer first. It's a good story.
Is it Old Possum?
No.
I don't know.
Go
All
ahead,
right.
Rick.
This one's moonshine.
Correct.
Oh, Jesus. That's it.
So I was
That's
working.
it.
I was working in a guitar shop. No, the only reason I know this is I was working in a guitar shop, and this little old couple came in. They both had fluffy little white hair, and the lady comes up to me, and she sounds like Mrs. Doubtfire. She goes, "Oh, little dear, we're here looking for a guitar for my husband. He hasn't played in years, And we were talking, and she's in there like, "Oh, we lived in West Virginia for so long, And I was like, "Oh, my family's from there," and he's like, back in Ireland, we called it mount, I forget what he said, but he said the Gaelic word for it. He's like, it means like water of life, and over here you call it moonshine. Woof, it gets the job done. He's this little old guy, and I was like, oh, it's so cool. So that's why I know that
that's
one.
Fantastic.
There you go. You got the story to prove it. All right. Let's see. I think Shailene, you're next.
Yeah,
right?
Shalene's up.
Okay, Vendertron is gone. He's left the podcast, so I'm gonna pick Super Vendertron for 300.
All right. An event that Shailene cannot pronounce centered around this Swiss-German commerce settlement.
Is it Forschnocht?
It is indeed a
Awesome.
Fashnacht.
Okay, did I
Awesome.
win?
No, Shalene's still sweeping up.
Sorry. I had to make a quick call. Okay. Well,
All right.
Rick, you're up next.
Awesome. I'm gonna steal Vendertron. Super Vendertron for 500.
This currently unincorporated community sees an alternate future in Fallout 76 that brings a gigantic techno-economic boom.
Good God. Techno-economic boom, which would be Flatwoods? No, I don't know.
That is incorrect. Vendor, you have a chance to steal.
The current unincorporated community. I don't know what. I don't even.
It's
Guys,
in Fallout.
We can do this. It's the town with the Mayor for a Day quest.
Grafton.
Grafton.
That's not the town with the Mayor for a Day quest.
Just answer it, Shalene.
I don't remember the name of the
It's-
town.
3 hours into this thing.
I don't.
I don't. It's
Watoga.
I mean, this really just means that I have to like go to West Virginia.
Yeah.
And, like I don't know anything
Right.
about West Virginia. I don't even know anything about my own province.
Well, now you're learning. That's the key.
I hate to do this, but we are creeping up on 3 hours, and I want to make this last round the winner take all round. So we're going to each answer one question, and I guarantee you that 2 of us will get it wrong, so one person's going to get something right, and we'll winner take all.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So yeah, we'll do one question. We'll have a chance to answer, and then you'll tell us who's right. So let's do one question. Pick the hardest question left.
I'm gonna circle through. Let's see. That's an easy one.
Let's just pick.
So good. Some of these
Let's
are-
pick that one right here.
Oh man.
So Vendor, answer this one.
The longest serving senator in U.S. history and reformed member of the Ku Klux Klan, Mike Pence? Am I wrong? I mean, I'm not wrong, right? I mean, somebody had to say it.
I am deceased.
Okay,
I guess
I'm
that's
gonna
not
say
right.
that's
Okay,
wrong.
Shalene?
I have no clue, so pretty much it's all on
He's
Shalene.
been serving like since before integration.
How
like,
the hell do you know all
Yes.
this?
What's his name?
Ari Twitch in chat says he's not reformed
dang it,
Vendor.
What is his name? I can't think of the guy's name, but I
that's
I
fine.
can imagine him.
It's Robert.
Oh no, I was wrong anyway.
All right, so apparently nobody wins this game show. Dave, thank you so much for putting this whole thing together.
That was magnificent.
Of course. I'm happy to do it.
Oh man, this has gone on for so long, but it's been such a joy. Thank you everyone sticking with us all the way to the end. This was our longest show by far. I don't know how I'm going to edit this to get it to fit on the server.
We could always just put it into a 2-part series.
I think I'm probably going to.
Yeah.
Edit out the game show for a separate little podcast thing. But anyway, I don't think we have any upcoming announcements. Survival Horror Sundays will not happen this weekend. I'm sorry. I'll be out of town. But you can tweet at Dave here at Vault Boys Pod on Twitter, and in fact, all these are going to be on Twitter. So you can tweet at us at That Fallout Show, the network at We Just Love Games, me at Rick McVick, at Shalene L, and at Vendertron at VendertronN. You can find us on Facebook with facebook.com/That Fallout Show and /groups/That Fallout Show. You can find our network on Facebook as well, facebook.com/We Just Love Games and groups/We Just Love Games. You can email us at info@wejustlovegames.com. Like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/wejustlovegames. You can find our show, as always, on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. If you leave us a review on iTunes with a little 5-star mark and some text, we will shout your name out at the beginning of the show, like we did our lovely listener who did... I can't remember. I'm sorry. It was 3 hours ago. We record live every other Friday here at twitch.tv/We Just Love Games at 6:30 Mountain, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You can check out our other show, Game Stack, which is more about just games in general. And we also do other Twitch streams when we can. Like we mentioned, on Sundays, we typically do Survival Horror Sundays. We are working through Dead Space, the first Dead Space, and that usually streams at 4 p.m. But again, we will not be doing it this Sunday. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Dave, for joining us. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you in Appalachia. And Shalene, what is your last word?
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
Aw.